from a different star, flying over streets and our broken hearts. But they can't even touch us, we found a different beat. Paradise is waiting and we bought the lease. Ooh, getting caught in the mist, there's so many that never get out of. They're feeding the fears and the doubts. Ooh, but we're golden, we run to the end and we run without shame. We own the game, and we ride on the flames till the morning light. Baby, 'cause we're dynamite, ain't nobody gonna hold us down.
And welcome back and again, ladies and gentlemen, to some more EV.io action right here on Community Gaming. I, of course, am Ravish, the most ravish beyond the internet. Enjoy here by my homie, Mr. Jim Baskin. What's up, Jim?
What's good, man? How you doing? It's been an awesome weekend so far. Yesterday, we went through the first couple of stages of seeing an open tournament for $10,000. It's the Dread Gauntlet, Rav. And today we've got top 8, man. We've got some killers in the lobby today. This bracket is absolutely stacked in that. Whereas yesterday, we saw some new faces meeting up against some veterans. Today, it's all killers ready to rock. So I'm excited, Rav.
Yes, sir. We're not exactly like you're saying, but just to, give y'all some precursor, if you guys were here yesterday or if you don't exactly know what's going on, hey, we go and fill y'all in. EV.io is a fast-paced, high-octane browser game, arena shooter with tons of options, customization, skins, and based on Solana coin and on blockchain as well. Too, it is free to play. You can hop in right now. It's phenomenal. It's very fun, and you can also look like these teams today. But of course, Jim, all this would not be possible without Community Gaming. Ain't that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, Community Gaming hosts tons of these tournaments weekly. And if you want to get involved today, all you have to do is type an !CG and make sure you go check them out. But of course, Community Gaming doing so much, Rav. They're throwing so much on with these quests, weekly tournaments, and they're sprawling across all different sorts of titles. Of course, EV.io is just one of the many. Rav, fill these guys in on the quests.
Well, I'm not even tell you, my friend. The quest is real easy. It's real simple. It's fantastic. Here's what the quest is. Community Gaming allows you to take this in. Look, there's a whole system on the tournament platform. You can earn rewards by simply using the platform daily. Log into that right now. Each day, you'll be a complete quest involving learning, competition, and social media actions to earn USDC and other crypto rewards. Type in quests below and follow the link to start earning rewards for your efforts today. Y'all don't want to miss out on that. It's free. Free money.
It's free. It's free money. And man, and there are so many more reasons to get involved too. This is not where the action ends either. Of course, next week as well, Community Gaming will be hosting yet another EV.io tournament. December 17th and 18th, the EV.io Coinbase Wallet 1v1 tournament arrives to crown the absolute champion. So that's going to be insane. Of course, these matches today, all 3v3 games, and we're in a best of 3 format leading up to the grand final. Of course, we're in top 8 today, meaning we've got a double elimination bracket to contend with. So there's a lot of action on the way. And of course, let's take a look at the bracket here. Yesterday, we covered the rise of some of these teams up to, making it into this next phase of competition. But some of these we haven't seen at all. So we'll definitely be in for a couple of surprises, Rev.
Yeah, 100%. Right? We were talking about some of the teams that we saw yesterday being Export Atlantic, a lot of the export teams in general. We're not surprised we made it this far. Of course, we did also see 300 MS Ping and also Export Fappy too. So a lot of these matchups we have experienced, but we have not gotten to see Rochester, Crimson, or the Club or Good Game Hunters here either. But from what we're seeing, it is double elim. Just because you go out in the first does not mean you cannot claw your way back, right? That's why this whole bracket is for you, at least to have a second chance to perhaps make it into the grand final and win $10,000, Jim.
$10,000, dude. That is a lot of money. And of course, EV.io is a play to earn game, meaning every single kill that you get in every lobby converts to tokens, which convert to Solana. And of course, the $10,000 that they're playing for all doled out in Sol. And let's talk about the breakdown of the money, man. In first place, you're going to get $3,100, and there's prizes all the way up to 8th place. Of course, if you're looking to get involved, you watch this game today and you're like, dude, this looks like a lot of fun. EV.io, man. Super simple. Get into your browser, on your phone, on your computer, on your Chromebook, whatever it is, you can get in a game today. But with that said, Rav, it looks like we're ready to get the games ready to roll, and we're ready to head on into Fractal, where we've got Xborg Atlantic in the green and the Xborg Nubs in the red.
Yes, sir. Remember, this is your first to 50 TDM. Y'all want to make sure to rack up early leads as much as possible, and we'll see which of the Xborg teams are truly superior here today. Although Atlantic took just a small start, but take that little 2-0 I do also like that they're rocking the sniper. We talked a lot about the game mechanics yesterday too.
Right.
I will introduce some of them today, as one of the players rocking a burst here, Jim.
Yeah, I know that's definitely different from yesterday, where we saw nobody running it. But of course, you just got to be precise. Big Boy, we were just playing against him earlier in the day. Just phenomenal players, and we were talking about him all of yesterday, but a much slower start to the match than we've seen, and we kind of figured this would happen, right? As we got better and better competition, these games would get tighter and tighter, and here we are. It looks like Atlantic 8-0. They're just kind of dominating the noobs here, 9-0, and they're looking so confident. This is not surprising, though, considering how good they looked yesterday too, right?
Yeah, Xborg Atlantic was phenomenal yesterday, Jim. I think we were talking about some high octane gameplay, but them, it was just clean, controlled dominance, and that is what continues to be here too. As playing, oh my God, takes the nade, gets out, gets one for free, area for the TP, but cannot get away with that. That's that big boy right there.
On fire as always, 15-3. This is just an awesome performance. But of course, all three of these players on the Atlantic side are players that have competed in multiple EV.io tournaments, right? We had a couple earlier in the year. I want to say like March, maybe April, where these three were dominating in that tournament as well. And they may have even gone like really far, if not to the grand finals. My memory's failing me at this point, but Atlantic names veterans of the field, and they're showing it on the game right now. 19-4, and the noobs just struggling to get a foothold here, dude.
It's been really tough so far right now for the noobs, right, Jim? It's because it does seem as though on the side of Atlantic, they're winning 1v2s. Like, these are battles that I find are just going so heavily in their favor, which is ridiculous in my opinion. But even now, there's a big nade too. The mine manages to disrupt them, so at least one is taken in their favor. But long range angles outside the sniper and this burst rifle, I think we did not see all of yesterday. Even playing a pretty decent part and playing the more long range.
Absolutely, right? It's good in between that charge rifle that takes a little bit more time, and a machine gun. It does a little bit more damage and it's a little more consistent, but if they close the gap on you and get in your face, you're going to be in a world of trouble. That's where the burst rifle really fails. And so, you know, got to be thinking about these things. Of course, both teams trying to play around the power-ups as well as they can, picking up those power weapons rather. But Atlantic 32-7, they are dominating right now, and of course they are in the green, dominating in long range and short ranges. Nubs finally pick up one there. Of course, it's traded out quickly.
Yeah, it's in the past minute or so too, we see the Nubs rack up to about 3 or 4 different kills, right? As of this point where Atlantic heavily taking like at this point like a 25 kill lead. It's nearing at this point, but hey, that wasn't too bad. I like the little mine fadeaway as well that did happen. That's one of the most fun things you can do, especially being able to use that shock nade to move across the entire map. Our launches so far, almost a little drive-by, but it's an explosion that happens up top without even noticing. But look at this, Desi managed to get 2 for himself, 2 almost a clean sweep for themselves. No, but making a real effort to climb the way back in.
Yeah, it's really nice watching these three on the side of Atlantic work together, because you can see they're moving around the map coordinated and they're going for these power weapons. And so even when they try to position themselves on the right side of the map to take space moving forward. They have someone split off left, get a different bit of elevation, and they're moving together as a pack. That's what separates them from their competition, right? They know how to use the rest of this map to their advantage, in addition to their stellar shooting skills. 46 and 14 right now. 3 minutes left on the clock. Atlantic just need 3 more frags here to close out this first round of the BO3.
Close calls across the board, but between just the small engagements that Atlantic have taken, but it seems as though even when they are down at 1 health, they'll somehow find a way to survive. And now with this, the noobs have to do exactly that and maybe just trade like Ken for 1, but that's one of their favor. But with 1 more minute going back, it's a matter of time. That time is 3 more seconds.
Beautifully done, Export Atlantic, making light work of the noobs. In the first round of our top 8, of course, it is a best of 3, so we're going to see another round of competition from them. But even for the noobs, should they lose that next one, there's always that lower bracket. So redemption chances are still very much possible. However, Atlantic looks really strong. They looked really strong yesterday. They look even better today, Revish. So they got a mountain to climb for sure, man.
Yeah, Exburg Atlantic right now looks like the strongest team that we have currently seen, right? Because we witnessed about maybe 4 to 5 of the teams from yesterday, and no such thing was taken with as much dominance as the games we witnessed out of them, right?
Right.
And considering that it's also up against another export team, a team that you have, I'm sure, have put the time into the grind into this game so heavily. So if there is that much of a gap here already, then I think we're looking at pretty clear favorites. But hey, we'll see how the rest of the tournament goes. For now, though, of course, this is the best of 3. We do have our second game about to be loaded up in just a little bit. So we shall see if the noobs can climb their way back.
Absolutely. And, as we get into this next game as well, we'll go through once again, like what the abilities are and what the movement mechanics are and what you might be seeing on your screen, right? So the burst rifle, like we were talking about, is something that, there's a couple of weapons that you can start off with. There's the machine gun. You can pick up a rifle that does a lot more damage. It's more akin to a sniper. You can pick up a burst rifle as well. Of course, you can swap between those 3 or 4 freely, but they all come with advantages and disadvantages. And so we'll go through those as the game progresses. But abilities too, you might see some people double hopping around, sliding around corners, flying through the air. There's impulse grenades. There's different ways you can kit out your abilities with skill points. So there's a great amount of customization. And of course, if it all sounds interesting to you, ev.io is where you want to go, be it on your phone or your tablet or laptop, whatever you got, Rav. You can get in on the action too. So, of course, that was just round 1 of a BO3. We still got 1 more, and this is just the start of our top 8. Everyone here playing for $10,000 today. So there is a lot on the line, Rav. I'm sure the tension has got to be high, but in that game, Atlantic looked cool to the bone, man.
Yes, sir. It was a clean sweep, if anything, right? Although those first couple definitely meant, they try to make things competitive, but when you're looking at 35 to 10 at a certain point, it almost seems indomitable, right? Where you're looking for it. And so far, the trends have most definitely been, although the close games, have definitely been like across within just a 3 to 4 kill margin, but the ones that have been such sweeps, I find have always started off with a clear indication is that the initial fight is completely taken without any sort of effort at all. What I mean by that is it's trios, right? Every single member of the initial squad survives. And if you cannot even trade one of that 2, that continues to prove a lot tougher, and you have to make sure to change your strategies, which is what I'm hoping the news managed to do. Yeah,
absolutely. You can't let yourself get stacked and stacked and stacked like that. When it's akin to a game, like if you ever played Super Smash Bros, right? In a team deathmatch setting where you're trying to get to 50, it's kind of like having a stock advantage, right? If you go down a couple of points, you want to try to work out your next couple of lives so that, okay, I can get 3 of them now. Our team can reset. We can get 3 of them again and again, right? Your health regens, your abilities regen. So if you just take the time to reset properly, you can go into every fight like it's even. So, you just got to have that mental thing. But like you're talking about, man, Atlantic just keeps the pressure on from the get-go. And it's hard to get out. You saw them just up into the noob's face. And of course, they even had one with the burst rifle way back pinning them down with covering fire. So that was tough.
Yeah, it was impressive on the last enemy. Also, one thing to note was the sniper rifle taken so early on as well, and that also netted them a fair bit of damage. But we'll see if that can continue forward as well as we look towards the second game in our first BO3.
Sweet. And of course, once again, the NIP skins on display. You can go pick that up in game as well. Shout out to NIP and to EV.io. But really, shout out to Community Gaming. If you're interested, make sure you're typing in !CG for all the information on games like Apex Legends, Super Smash Bros., Hearthstone, and so much more. CG also supports a wide variety of grassroots tournaments, offering tools and guidance to organizers to help supercharge their events. So head on over to communitygaming.io to learn as much as you'd love.
Love that. We love Community Gaming out here. We also love the noobs as well. Keeping it a lot closer this time. We were saying how past initial engagements, you can't let yourself be out traded like that. They've done exactly this. So managed to, you know, keep things down to just a 4-kill differential, or at least playing a lot more of these longer angles and not letting themselves get overpowered though. But Atlantic still, this is the reason why they've been so dominant. And they see, yo, give me a bit too many picks so far, so let's reconvene. And now playing as 2-on-2, covering fire with one floater and allowing themselves to play a lot more of these longer angles, especially with a sniper. But noobs are not falling for it.
They're not falling for it. Noobs staying closer together. It's a slow game too. Like you said, they started off really close. The Export Atlantic, it seems, oh man, that was tough. A double nade there, finding 2. That's great from Lexi, and finding a 3rd there with the sniper. 3 in a row, awesome for Atlantic, not so great for the noobs, but like we were saying, Atlantic and noobs much closer at the beginning, but then Atlantic take the momentum and they just begin to run with it, just dominating this map with their movement.
Domination right now is exactly what continues to happen. The hand cannon to the dome, and with two fires taken right up front, Export Atlanta has to be feeling confident as the game goes further and further, but not as extensive as the lead that we saw previously. Has to get out of that one. As they reconvene though, nice shot, and another taken by simply walking around.
Insane level of teamwork here. Lexi, S-Cage, and Big Boy, man, working so well together. They are just moving and grooving around this map, not allowing anyone space to breathe. This dive that they're doing is so good. Honestly, it reminds me of Overwatch, but this it's working out for them. You know, you see, look at them flying through the air coordinated to land on one member of the Export noobs, cutting him out of the equation and going on to the next person. And they just keep this up.
And I think with the pace right now, right, although the noobs aren't just giving them that many picks for free, but I don't think they necessarily care. They'll go and take them themselves as Big Boy walks into the entire squad and gets out with 2 kills of his own. Oh my god. I thought noobs, you know, they were looking like they had a small chance. They'll do something, but hey, you got Flash, so at least you couldn't take all 3 of them.
At least you couldn't take all 3. That was insane, really. Since we talked about it, right? Since we first mentioned that the start of this game was close, the noobs have found 4 more kills since then, while Atlantic have found about 30 more. So, you know, that should tell you the story of just how this game is going. Atlantic is so confident, and even in the game chat, the noobs are like, Export Atlantic #1, and it's like, yeah, man, these guys are fantastic, and I can't wait to see their journey throughout the rest of the bracket here as they're just demonstrating such good teamwork, such great movement, and just having a good time, you know what I mean? They are not a single second of what looks like stress. They've got good strategies, they've got mines closing off their flank so they can't get, obviously, flanked, and they're just watching the front. Like, whoa, they have strats.
The only time you see a bit of a slowdown is when they're trying to figure out where the noobs are spawning from.
Right.
And that right there was so close, but use the nade to pop up top and even the TP along the side as well. So allowing them to secure 2 and what would have been a 1-for-1 battle by the end of it. Not just 10 kills away, you pop in, he's trying to melee him. Oh.
You hate to see it, honestly. that samurai knife, the katana, honestly, like when I see someone sliding at me with that Mach 1 speed, I get scared, bro.
Yeah, that's a two-shot, man. So if you actually take one hit or maybe just a couple pellets to the body, then suddenly you're thinking that's just one. That's all it takes. And even now, we just continue to devolve as the noobs decide that, you know what, they'll continue to keep going forward, W key it for as long as they can. There's 2 kills left, Jim. Make that one.
Make that one. And just like that, Xborg Atlantic 2-0 over the Xborg Noobs, 19, 16, and 16. A clean division there between the 3 players because we just saw them working as a cohesive unit. Beautifully done. And just like that, they move forward in our top 8 bracket. And with that, the Xborg Noobs drop down to our lower bracket. They're not out just yet. There is still hope for them. However, Xborg Atlantic putting on a show for sure, Rav.
Right, but exactly like you mentioned, there's still second chances to come about. Right, I'm sure we'll be able to see our next bracket matches decently soon. But aside from that, though, we do want to imagine and think, okay, if this is the kind of performance that they put forward, is there another team that can actually challenge them? Right now, we haven't been able to see about 4 teams in our top 8, so maybe they have an actual chance.
Maybe they have a chance. I mean, MMG, I think the team's name was MVP X MMG thingy, if I'm remembering correctly, looked pretty dominant yesterday as well. So I have a good feeling they'll do pretty well in their match. Maybe they move forward as well, and maybe we see these 2 teams contend. But like you're saying, yesterday we had an open bracket, 256 teams maximum capacity. The potential to have all those teams there, potential to have great storylines too. We know a lot of these export teams because we know they've been spending time scrimming and practicing together. The rest of them, who are they? What are these storylines? And we can't wait to tell you and, be there with you every step of the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket so we can get a top-down look at all the action that's going on.
And with the update, we see Expert Noobs, of course, will be facing up against Roxas, and Atlantic will be going up against Chrism 2. So, Chris is one of the teams we also have not been able to experience just yet. And on the other end, it seems as though the 2 games between Good Game Hunters, the Clubber, and 300MX and Xborg Fappy are also still going on. So for now, we'll get that update as soon as we can, though. But Atlantic moving forward is no surprise, and I do hope to see if Chris can also put up a contention against Atlantic too.
Yeah, right. I don't even know. Like you said, we haven't taken a look at that match. We don't know who's on that team. And so for them to make it this far, obviously they've got to be pretty good. So I can't wait to find out what that game actually looks like. But of course, on the top half of the bracket, like you said, Good Game Hunters EV versus the Clubber still going on. 300 MS Ping versus Xborg Fappy still going on as well. And it looks like from 300 MS Ping and Xborg Fappy moves on. So that's pretty huge. 300 MS Ping is a pretty stacked team as well. So it looks like they'll be going down to the losers bracket. Somewhat surprising outcome, I will say, because we did have the opportunity to look at that team yesterday and they looked pretty stacked. So that must have been a good match as well. So plenty more to come, Rav. But yeah, slowly filling out the bracket.
I am thinking that it might also look like a Xborg v Xborg again in the top bracket, right? Considering how we've traversed so far, it is entirely possible. And then also we'll be able to experience as to which Xborg team is truly the best one here. Going as they look indomitable against Noobs, and now up against Fappy too. There's a real chance, but of course, not to get past the winner between the Good Game Hunters and the Clubber as well, which we'll update that bracket as soon as you get the results into. They seem to be locked in a dead heat battle going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we are going to go to a short break here while we wait for these matches to finish up. But of course, we can't wait to see what the rest of the action for the day has in the store. And of course, in chat, we're sure you can't wait either. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Maybe grab a drink real quick. But we'll be back shortly with the rest of the action.
Greetings, traveler. You look weary of your efforts going unrewarded. There's no shortage of spoils to be had. Stick with me and claim what is rightfully yours.
Hey, welcome back, homies, to some more EV high octane pressurized shooting. I am, of course, Ravish. Going to hear about my man Jim Bosca, and we're about to get into our next round of the winners bracket, Jim.
Yes, indeed. It's been an awesome day so far. Of course, a lot of the teams that we saw dominate yesterday, dominating today, but we only saw one round of competition so far, and it's a double elim bracket this time around. So 2 chances for everybody here. So we got a lot of storylines to cover. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket and fill you in on what just happened. Export Fappy at the top. Moving forward, we covered that already versus 300 MS ping, but the club BR also moved forward past their game with Good Game Hunters EV. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a result that we were waiting on for quite a fair bit, right? We were thinking of who actually might come out on top, and those 2 games too in general were super close. Like considering how they went to game 3 between Good Game and the Clubber, right? Like super just back and forth between them, but Clubber came out on top, just barely an out between Atlantic, Fappy, and Clubber and Chrism. That's gonna be one where you're truly weeding out every single other person. Speaking of which, though, we will be starting our next round in just a little bit as well, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to watch these 2 teams because, like you mentioned, we saw the club BR in that matchup go for quite some time, and so hopes are high, expectations are high for both these teams. Export carrying the Export name, and the club BR with a lot to work for here. With 3-1, it's a slower matchup, and trades are going back and forth. The club BR in green and Export Fappy in the red.
And the club BR, right? They just got off a super close match, and now hopping into another one right away. We'll see what they managed to put up with what efforts they win that BO3, and it's plays like that I want to see joining up with a teammate across the map, placing the mines on top of the high ground. And now they have control here too, so they can try to watch the spawns where Expert Fappy is coming from. And already do see one. The long range shots do not connect. Really not able to get him.
Yeah, gets out of position real quickly in hopes of finding a kill from the high ground. That's the temptation, and sometimes you gotta listen to it, sometimes you gotta deny it, and that's one of those where he should have denied it. Of course, Expert Fappy taking up the club BR, doing some work, trying to find some kills here, but Fappy finding number 11 as club BR trade back a quick one and find a second in a row.
BR though down with just about half, but Export Fappy too. This is clearly it's not completely one-sided here either, but that might have actually been all 3 in a quick succession. But good on the club BR for managing to at least make some shots back in what was a heated long-range battle. And now though, spots continue. Export Fappy once again moving as 3. The flash gonna blind him for over a couple of seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing a really good job of not letting Expert Fappy to run away with this lead entirely, right? The club BR trying to slow it down at every opportunity they can so that they can find a kill here or there, but Fappy moving it around, keeping the pace high. They find 3 in a row and just bust open this game. 21-10 for Fappy here with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. Doing a good job of regrouping here, though. It seems the club BR are going to have their work cut out for them, man. And it is a best of 3 still. We're still in the top side of the bracket, so they're going to have a couple of opportunities throughout the day. But, man, it's game time.
I loved the small instance of aerial combat that just happened there as well, because you saw that both sides were rotating towards the other end to be able to gain some high ground and cover. But unfortunately, Export Fappy clearly had the exact same idea. And now as they look to engage on just one lone member on the club BR. Be on Big Brain Pappy himself, clear the team out here, taking his name. Will manage to clean up 2 by himself as they continue hunting.
Yeah, really good stuff. And of course, a lot of these players are opting for that double jump because you can, as you're seeing a lot, use that impulse nade, get a crazy amount of distance, and then a hop to increase that jump across pretty much the entirety of the map. So you can get to wherever you need to as long as you work with your team. So doing a good job once again, Fappy. Teamwork making the dream work. Great shots from mid-air, connects on that snipe, and then finishes off with this machine gun. That's the kind of versatility you need. That weapon swap mid-air, man, that's what you like to see.
Right, and this is the first game that I've seen just that much aerial combat actually continue to happen between these 2 teams. It is so wild to me how Export Fappy and both the club BR clearly have this very similar playstyle, but it just seems to be just a matter of who either engages first or who's getting caught out first like that. Because Export Fappy too somehow find the angle on the club BR. They continue trying to hold the high ground, but it's consistently shut down by just 2 more members. Now Fappy once again looking to find them. They got them in their spawns, Jim.
Yeah, beamed them from across the map there as they close the distance now. Green team trying to time their spawn so that you saw them all stacking up, that they could go together and maybe set something up, but just getting shoved down by Fappy, who are finding a couple of kills and are just 4 away now from locking in round 1 of this best of 3.
3 more remaining. It looks to make it 2 within a matter of seconds. Xborg Fappy, another Xborg compatriot, tries to get the melee at the end, not able to close it out, but 1-0 up again in our upper winners round bracket. In our bracket, uppers winner 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And even ending that one with a knife kill. Of course, you saw the katana come out from Pulse on the team of Xborg Fappy. So we expected a great match here. We got that. Like you were mentioning, that aerial combat was awesome. Weapon swaps mid-air, hitting the sniper rifle, using the machine gun to finish it off. Those are classic combos, and it's just so good to see. But that was just the round 1. So Club BR still have a lot of life left. They could maybe take us to our first round 3 of the day, man.
Right, it's entirely possible, especially considering how, although it wasn't as one-sided, but they were clearly learning as you got towards the end of that game, right? You saw Export Fappy absolutely loved ensuring that they were ahead of the curve, right? You saw how often they were just in the Club BR spawns, and also if they gain a couple of seconds to perhaps even rotate out, then we can likely see that maybe the weapon gains the space and then continue forward in a type of just, aerial combat and high style that they do enjoy playing. But for now, though, we will see. We get into the game number 2 within our next BO3. We do have a couple of seconds until that happens as well. And Club BR, y'all got some time. Talk things over. Breathe for a little bit.
Yeah, talk about it. See what happened, because I saw them at different points in that match trying to slow down the pace of the game so that they could regroup, maybe take a couple of fights as a team. But in the time that it took them to do that, Export Fappy up in their face, shoving them down, and just ready for the next fight. They are moving so quickly, and so it's either up the ante, keep the pace of the game high, or do something else. I don't know what the answer is, but whatever it may be, the Club BR needs to come up with it quick, because we're down 1 round already, and they are this close to being sent to that lower bracket. So that's not a place you want to be, but of course it's better than being eliminated, I guess, right?
Just small inches is what they're playing with currently, but hey, maybe we can all turn around. Hopefully we get our first best 3 of the day here, perhaps. And with that noise, we just got word from production that we'll actually be starting quite soon. Hoping to get players in lobby in just a couple of seconds. Hopefully, they mentioned. Wow. Okay. Thank you.
The nature
for that
of the gamer. There we go, and it looks like we're about ready to rock into the map. Of course, we are on Fractal as always for this setup. We're trying to keep it even so that it comes down to just competition. And of course, ev.io, if you're wondering how to get involved, it's ev.io on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, wherever you may be. You can start playing today and start earning the play. But of course, shout out to CG Rav, making all of this possible, right?
Right, CG doing phenomenal stuff. Remember, if you want to host a tournament, if you want to be able to make your brackets, if you want to make things look good and just learn more about the world of esports, hop on to CG, their platform, earn some points and gain crypto and so on and so much more. The Export Fappy, though, better to do that right now as they're looking to earn some crypto of their own. 6-kill lead already.
Samehada at the distance comes out on top. That's what you like to see. Export Fappy not moving as quickly together as they were last game just yet, but the Club BR, even though they showed signs of life like they did in that first game, they are losing that, that gap is becoming wider and wider. Fappy up at 13, the Club BR down at 6.
I like you're saying. It's tough that we were talking a bit about this before, that the team who actually does manage to, gain a pretty substantial lead at the beginning, as the nature of this game is, does a pretty good job of actually holding it, right? So we have to be proving it wrong about that, but we'll see maybe if the Club BR can perhaps do so. Currently doing a really good job of, getting the 2-for-1s right now, but they're getting staggered here as well. Because you notice
getting
that
staggered.
Yeah, so often here, and it's just like that. Unfortunately, caught up by one.
Yeah, man, it's really such a wonderful thing to watch. The movement of Export Fappy, so that they keep going. They kill you once in the left side of the map. They're bouncing, they're impulsing to the other side because they know you're going to be spawning as far away as possible. And if they can get the jump on one of your members, they're going to be doing some work. So it's a two-way street, right? The Club BR, even though you die, you can try to run away and try to group up with your team. And it seems like Fappy just don't want to let that happen. They're trying to not let them get into the double digits, man. But the Club BR, of course, as I say that, rack up number 10 and Fappy near 30 at this point.
That right there, though, as well. The play right before this, clean shot by them. The play right before this, we've seen how Expert Fappy, or sorry, I should say, that the Club BR does love holding his power position up top on the high ground. But they've had a very hard time holding it because Expert Fappy usually just wins a long range duel with the ARs, or they just come up behind and surprise them. But the Club BR there, though, it was a fantabulous effort to shocknade off, and now I'll hold my thoughts as Fappy just dives in by himself.
Yeah, absolutely insane, just getting into the fray. But even here, watching Export Fappy rail them from afar. Red team now grouping up, taking the fight on the right side, coming out on top in this 2v1, and Samahata can't handle the heat, goes down, unfortunately. But now Maikau tries to come through, goes down to a mine. And so even in death, Export Fappy are finding these kills. And this corner is becoming a hotspot for kill after kill as the snipers into the fray. Flowy is heading on in there, and the mines are being deployed yet again. Export Fappy up at 40, the Club BR down at 14, and this frenetic action isn't going to stop anytime soon.
You know where Samehada is from, Jim?
Sounds Korean.
No, so close. So Samehada in Japanese means sharp teeth. That is from the name is from the famous anime Naruto. It was one of the swords of the 7 demon sword wielders.
Oh, was it Zabuza's?
It is Kisame's, actually. Yeah. Zabuza's sword, I'm trying to remember, but it's the one with a hole in it, and the I believe in English it's called the Executioner. I can't remember what it's called in Japanese. It's called Kubikiri. Thank you, production. Yeah.
I love Naruto, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's really cool. But for now, the only person getting executed is the Club BR.
The Club BR going down in a brutal fashion. Export Fappy putting on a show yet again. Beautifully done. And honestly, like, it's not because the Club BR were bad by any means, but Export Fappy were just that much better, moving like crazy, grooving across the map and hitting those shots.
Yeah, sir, just that much more practice, right? And with that win, we should be able to get our bracket updated just a little bit too, as we did have our lowers going on as well. So we'll unfortunately have to say goodbye to 2 teams that we did just witness before, but perhaps they may have some chances going on forward. And now we should be able to witness, yes, what we might perchance and what match we might be able to take in. Because after this, of course, we have winners round 3, and then we'll get a chance to take a glance at our lower bracket run. Because remember, every single game is your best 3 until a grand finals, which is going to be a best of 5.
Right. Lots of action still to come, but of course, yeah, lower bracket teams, man, double elimination is only good for one thing. You got to go down there and then win and come back up. Otherwise, it's a tough story. Let's go take a look at the bracket, Rav, and see what the outcomes were down in the land below. It looks like 300 MS ping win over Good Game Hunters EV. That is awesome. We'll be moving on in that lower bracket, and of course, Export Fappy all the way at the top, moving on as well as we wait for the results from Atlantic versus Chrism 2 and Noobs versus Rakshas down at the lowest bracket.
Now, considering the dominance that we saw out of Atlantic previously, I'm still thinking, okay, the game is still going on, so maybe Chrism 2 might be the team to beat. If they can take this win, that would be one, I find like a little bit of an upset, if anything, but 2, we get to witness a brand new team, their own dominance, and perhaps even move on to the lower bracket. Because let's say if Atlanta drops down, then that'll be their own lower bracket run that they will have to face up against too. So that would be a really interesting result if that does happen. But We can't exactly know for sure until the bracket does get updated, right? So we still have a bit of time for that because, as you mentioned throughout the entire day, a lot of these teams are fighting for a lot of money. But hey, you know, Jim, if you don't have two friends and can't make it today, I heard there's a thing going on next week too.
There is a thing going on next week, Rav. Funny that you should mention it. It's the Community Gaming hosting another EVIO tournament. It's 17th and 18th. It's the EV.io Coinbase Wallet 1v1 tournament. So you no longer need a team to play and compete for $5,000. Make sure you tune in to watch players zip across the sky, snipe each other down, and battle it out for the title champion. Make sure you type in !Coinbase in chat for more information and to get that link so you can actually go ahead and register. And if you were wondering to get into EVIO, what do you need to do, Rav?
You need to have a Wi-Fi connection to any sort of a cellular, tabular, modular device with a screen. And that's it. You just go log in. It's a browser game. It's a free game. You can play however you want for as long as you want. A wonderful experience that perhaps you can experience for the next 5 minutes after we come back from this break. We'll see you in a bit. All right, look at that. We're still waiting around. We got game number 2 going on between Atlantic and Chrism, and it seems to be quite close here, Jim.
Yeah, quite close. And these are actually names we're familiar with on Chrism. We got Crunk, we got Nizen, and I believe one other player there that we have seen before as well. So Atlantic and Chrism 2 going heads ahead in a close nail-biter of a game. It's 14-15, definitely the closest game we've had all weekend long wrap. So we are in for a fight.
Right, it's we were kind of expecting this too. We were saying how whether the games are going so far as you Chrism and Atlantic seems almost deadlocked too. What a snipe was to clean the fadeaway. The second almost taking the switch out as well. Jim, this exciting.
Yeah, that guy's on fire. Lexi hits the double snipes back to back, hits the weapon swap, gets the third. Unfortunately, dies after, but after you wipe the whole team, I don't think, you're feeling too bad about that trade at all. It's 21-21 right now, and Nizen cleans up that fight, even though he goes down with a mine and a sticky nade combo. So explosives are really valuable in this matchup. Of course, it's 22-21 with Atlantic in the lead in the green here, but probably not for long as Chrism close the gap, find 2 and find a third. That's a wipe. They're waiting for the reset. They're setting up the mines on the TPs, and they're ready to go.
And as see locked in just 2-2 right now. That's where Atlanta want to kind of play it back. They're down. Once again, the gap is not closing, but this might be able to do it. And just like that, that's 2 for none at all. Watching the TP, keeping it close. Now Chrism has left to regroup as well, but they know exactly where Atlantic are as well. They lock them down in front of TP here. Jam the long range shot, one more connected, but they can't close it out.
Can't close it out. Yeah, not going to find it there, and it's still tied 27-27 as Atlantic just finds one more. But unlike Chrism, where Chrism finds these wipes after each other, Atlantic finds one here and there. It's tied back up 28-28, hand cannon doing work, and now Chrism takes the lead by just 1 frag as M2RK finds 2 with the MG at range. Now trying to keep this fight going into the hallway. Keeping control of this high ground, like we mentioned, is always important, Rav, and it seems like that is still the case here.
Damn, this is high ground as of right now as well too. Hasn't necessarily switched traded places a ton, but looking at Chrism right now too, they seem to prefer trying to play around just one exact corner, putting in those smokes too, but keeping one person a floater is trying to surmise to where might Atlantic be actually coming in from, and
Nice.
doing a beautiful job of that.
Yeah, really well done by M2RK. Waits for his team to start making noise as if they're running, and he comes around the right side, hits the nade, so they're forced to go into that choke and funnel into the rest of his team. And if not, they meet his MG and they go down. So beautifully done by Chrism 2. Still just in the lead by 1 point, and it's immediately closed with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. We're tied 37-37.
This is crazy, Jim. I've never seen Atlantic have to put up such an intense fight against a team like this. And you're mentioning how to remember there's still a lower bracket after this too. So this is entirely possible that we could possibly see the matchup again, considering how close it is and just how good Christmas looks so far. But they made it this far for a reason. This is clearly why, as they're up by just 1. Close to about 3, no one on the high ground just yet as Lexi pops up. Can't find anybody though. He's one in the corner. But can't get to him.
Yeah, denied of that kill. The height really not working out for him because there's a lot of nooks and crannies that you can dip into if you're afraid of someone coming down from above. So really well designed, good, well thought out in what they're trying to do here. 44-41 though, Export Atlantic, 3-person lead. Green team keeping an eye on the smoke now, watching and waiting for Chrism to maybe make some pressure through with 2 minutes left on the clock. They're keeping the mines on the TPs as well, watching their back. They're not going to be the first ones to make a move here because Chrism need to do something if they want to take the dub here.
Keeping it so close, but like you're saying, Export Atlantic, just taking a small bit of lead, but just as you say that, the sniper shot from long range, M2, making a massive effort to playing the outside, getting the power weapon, and now they're once again just down by 1. Make that none. Export Atlantic making a serious effort. Now they also have to play more stuff with these spawns too, because you've seen how Chrism has been able to do some double the TP over the top, and that was wild. And who won? Wait, who won? Oh my god, Atlantic won.
Yeah, that's Atlantic. Yeah, just in the brink of time. 19, 19, and 13. Beautifully done by Atlantic. They kept that lead for as long as possible, extended out that timer when it got to about 2 minutes, and then went for the final fight, finding it in the end. So congrats to them. They'll be moving on. That's a 2-0 for Atlantic, sending Chrism down to the lower bracket, where honestly, I think we're going to be seeing this matchup again in the grand finals.
Oh, 1,000%, right? Because we have already mentioned that these two teams look like the most dominant ones in their brackets,
far, yeah.
respectively, right? Because Atlantic in general was trouncing everybody in the competition, and now Chrism are the first team to take them to a game 3, and especially in such a close game like this, where it's definitely separated by 1 or 2 kills. Yeah, I might just call that this might be a GF right now, but hey, well, wait. Well, we'll go wait to see, because so far nothing has surprised me such.
It's true, man. That was awesome to watch. So definitely our closest match of the weekend so far. And we are just in the second or third round of this top 8. And we are moving on through. Of course, if we can, we will take a look at the bracket after this 5-minute break. Of course, we'll get you the latest and the greatest of all the action. There is so much more to come. And of course, it's all for $10,000. So we'll see you shortly.
Hi, how you doing? Well, I'm well. I'm Ravish. This is Jim. Jim, we're good, aren't we?
We're fantastic. We had a beautiful match just before that break, man. It was the closest game we've had all weekend long, and I can't believe Chrism is now in the lower bracket.
Yeah, considering how much of a competition they actually waited so that Atlantic had to push themselves to just the absolute brink, just one kill down. Remember, it was a best of 3, so they could have made it so that it would have gone all the way to the full 3 games, where the results definitely could have gone either way. But it doesn't matter necessarily, as we're now looking at our upper bracket finals. Right, we got 2 brand new teams, but of course, it's 2 export teams who made it this far.
Exactly. Xborg Fappy, Xborg Atlantic at the top. We are in the winners finals. And so, like you mentioned, we've got one of these games at the top, and then we'll do 2 lower bracket matches followed by the grand finals. So it's, we've got quite a ways to go, but lots of entertainment, lots of action, hopefully lots of close games like we just saw. And of course, on the bottom side, 300 MS ping will be going up against Chrism 2. While on the lower part of that, the Export Noobs versus the Club BR. So a lot of great teams still. Anything can happen at this point, Rev.
It's close margins, but as we continue to move forward and forward, I do wonder if Extra Vappy can also put up the exact same competition that we did see Chrism do up against Atlantic, right? Can they challenge them the exact same ways? Well, only a matter of time until we do see that, of course, as we get the lobby set up. I'll probably be in that in just a minute. And considering Fappy, of course, made it so far, we saw them yesterday too. They look quite good, as have many of the teams. But we were mentioning yesterday, a lot of these are pug squads. A lot of these are teams that may not have been able to put the exact same time in. So that may be why we see the disparity. But here comes a true test. They did manage to beat 300 MS ping and the Club BR. But as of right now, up against Atlantic, what are they going to show us?
Got Fappy in the red, and like you mentioned, Atlantic in the green. So let's see what this matchup looks like. Of course, Atlantic been dominating all day. Just came hot off a win as well as Fappy. But I got to say, Atlantic's win was a lot closer. It was a lot tougher of a matchup against Chrism. So definitely have their work cut out for them. And immediately, even though they start this match in the deficit, Atlantic flip it on its head and have taken the lead. And
yeah, because Atlantic 2 you saw as well, they started off with actually a 2-1 lead as well. But considering, sorry, Fappy I meant to say, but Atlantic now have Met's Cloud way back, double TP away, and the nade as well to close things out. Smooth moves coming out from Fappy, but it'll only make it so that their lead is just down by 3. 3 away they are. Make that 2. Fappy finding some really good fights.
Even the pressure up, Atlantic around the corner. S-Gage is good for 3 in a row, and the reset coming out now as Flowy going for the impulse here with the double jump there. Closes the gap onto the green team. Atlantic into the fray, but it looks like Flowy finds himself on top of Lexi. Comes out on top in the gunfight. Beautifully done. Lets the regen kick in and is going back for some more. But unfortunately, Atlantic are keen to it. And Lexi this time with the 3K resetting the map.
4 kills continues to remain the difference between Fappy and Atlantic. Can't obviously close that gap as of right now, but the far away shots do continue to rain. But with the TTK that we do currently have, it cannot close it out. But all of Atlantic have managed to group up here and up against Fappy, who also are now once together. They're the ones deciding to push the pressure, but only has 2 as of right now. To put up the smoke for small bits of cover, but a 2v1 fight. Can they actually come out on top? The answer is no.
answer is no when hitting those surf movements. Lexi with great stuff across the map, hits the sticky, finds one off that insane Hail Mary impulse down the middle of the map. Beautifully done. And Xborg Atlantic only have a 1-point lead here as Big Brain across the side of the map with that NIP skin nailing them for a lot of damage.
And it continues to get closer here as well, Jim, which I do wonder as to what might transpire as right now, because Fappy too, you're mentioning how it was a 4 right now, putting it down to just between 2 to 3, it continues back and forth. And Atlantic are taking a position where they now themselves, do of course wait for all the respawns too. They move in as 3, which is the smartest decision, but meanwhile Fappy, well, they are able to scout them out initially, and long range fire, and was gonna 1-for-1. The sniper managed to go down, but okay, that's SK in 3.
Yeah, always SK's on fire, and this is the same thing in the last tournament, right? Just an absolute slayer. 24-19 now, 4 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. Atlantic about halfway there to the victory. Fappy letting the lead grow, you know what I mean? And now the game's been slowed down a good amount. You see the red team moved up as 3 on the other side of this hallway, and of course the green team, Atlantic, in control of the high ground. And so as the impulses start out, Poppy's gonna go down mid-air, shot out, and Atlantic are good on the tracking, looking for more here as the onslaught from the red team continues. Atlantic continue to take up in their lead, finding 3 in a row as Fappy find 2.
Yeah, because notice how they actually did end up trading positions by the end of it, where Fappy managed to get on the high ground, force Atlantic out, but it was almost as though they were down for that too, because considering they still managed to come on top of the fight and still managed to nail them down. But where we're at right now, though, there's just a couple of seconds between Fappy now having to move in and Atlantic as well reconvening. You can see Atlantic just putting down some warning shots if anything, but Fappy coming out towards the other side. They've already pushed down to about half, and 1 goes in their favor.
Yeah, man, the strategy seems to be run directly at someone's face, so you force them to sort of have to do a 180, and that's what we were seeing happening to Big Boy also often. That's 3 lives in a row that he's spawned and gotten pounced on by someone from Xborg Atlantic, so beautifully done.
Now, once again, we're back in the same position, but now Xborg Fappy has not had the time to be able to all group up as one pushes one either. So we're seeing much more of these individual battles, which is what Atlantic are finding. Now, if it does favor, Fappy has to get out of there, but cannot seem to get away. It's the aerial combat, it's the tracking we've talked about all day here, Jim, that is just so superior for the Atlantic side.
41-31, 2 minutes and 55 seconds left on the clock now. Xborg Atlantic keeping an eye on the hallway yet again, putting it down. It's actually Fappy with the high ground control now. We're watching Big Brain Poppy here, keeping an eye on the hallway. Sticky nade, keep the pressure up. And ultimately, they have 1 member of the red team deep into the fray. And of course, Lexi picks it up quick as Pulse returns with a quick one there as well. It's still a 10-kill differential maintained through that trade as Fappy find another now. Slowly working their way up to close this gap with 2 minutes left. And with Atlantic only needing 6 more kills, Rav. This is tight.
Uses the rocket launcher to put out some cover fire, possibly get some ship damage. That allows us to move in. Sniper shot will not be able to connect. But Baby and Poppy only good for 1 by the end of it, as the rest of his team ends up falling. And Atlantic now in a position where only 1 more squad wipe is needed. But Fappy doing their darndest, but only 2 away. Is Atlantic from taking the first in this best of 3.
Absolutely insane. Let's see if they can keep up the pressure here. 49, man. They just need 1 more, like you said, to secure that first round of this BO3. Fappy on the back foot, and just like that, 25 for Lexi, 14 for S-Gage, and Big Boy with 11. That's definitely how it felt, with Lexi dominating in that match, getting 3K after 3K. Beautifully done in that first round.
Right, and this was Fappy that actually started off initially in the beginning, right? They managed to get the, I believe, it was a 3-1 lead. So, but that on its own didn't result in much. Whereas Atlantic quickly closed the gap to, they all got together, synced response times. And then from there, it grew from a 3 to 4 to almost 10-kill lead that was insurmountable, right? And we're looking at 30 to 40, where it's definitely close, but when you're already at 42, all it seems like it's just a matter of time before the team closes it out.
Absolutely. Just really good stuff. And of course, that game, should it have started any other way, we saw Fappy with a quick lead, but then turned on its head. If Fappy found just a couple more frags earlier on, then we'd be telling a different story. Of course, round one still close. And as we head into round two of this best of three, we got to remember we are still in the top side. So there is still life yet for both of these teams, should anything else happen, right?
Right. That's so more than enough options for you to take a couple of seconds, breathe, relax, right? Because considering it's winter finals, of course, we do, of course, have our lower bracket as well there to run through 2 more matches there, and then we'll be able to see our grand finals by the end. So just small instances, close margins as we continue to get near and near to the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of action still to come, though. Of course, we are still on the Fractal map. And of course, a lot of what you're seeing is just beautiful teamwork, great gunplay in the air and on the ground. And honestly, the best movement seems to be winning, right? Of course, what we saw a lot of from Fappy is that when they had those streaks, they were just running down those members of Atlantic. Of course, we're talking about SKH and Big Boy on Atlantic, who we watched Big Boy spawn after spawn, trying to make something happen and just getting barraged by people flying at him with those impulses. That's what you need to do when you work together as a team, right?
Yeah,
if he gets
sir.
one of you, someone that is there to trade, and you keep the momentum high. So awesome stuff. Can they keep it up, though? Like, endurance has got to play into this at some point, right?
Right, exactly. Because right now it's so many of these high pressure matches, right? And there's so many games being played. And speaking of which, we should be hopping into our next one in just a little bit as well, while we get players back in lobby once again for the next stage, the BO3 between Atlantic and Fappy, of course. But it continues to get tougher, right? Because this is where you're looking at mental game as well, Jim, right? Do you, like you were just mentioning, just the endurance, the perseverance, right? How many of those aerial shots can you continue to land? How good are you when it comes down to the wire? We're playing like 6 hours of this game, but I'm sure all these players have managed to put in more. But like, I know for me, man, I'm exhausted. After one good game, all my shots are whiffing, personally.
And at the end of the day, esports is the endurance sport. You know, this E stands for. No, I'm kidding. But obviously, like, it really is a real thing. And like, when you have such tight games like that, when you know you're good, you need to just keep your game tight, right? Because a little bit of hubris, a little bit of overconfidence could just turn the tides of battle just like that. And then the momentum flips on the other side, and you might find yourself in the lower bracket, just like 300 MS Ping and Chrism, you know, 2 fantastic teams that we have duking it out. And of course, we're now just waiting on a couple of players to get back into the lobby to get the next match underway. But man, $10,000 on the line for this EVIO tournament.
Indeed, my friend. If you want to try to take part in a tournament like this, play some more EVIO and get some more one-on-one action, of course, you can look at a Community Gaming host, our Coinbase wallet. The Community Gaming will be hosting next week, December 17th and 18th. EVIO Coinbase wallet 1v1 tournament arrives to crown the absolute champion. Tune in, watch players zip across the sky, snipe others down, and battle out for their title. Or typing Coinbase in chat for more info and the link to sign up.
Yep, absolutely awesome. You know, an arena shooter back into the fray. And then we're back in round 2 of this Export Atlantic versus Export Fappy match, with Atlantic currently in green in the lead, 5-3 over Fappy.
Not necessarily able to close the gap just yet, but like you're saying, this is how we started things off previously. This is, the continuing trend, but Fappy, though, continue to get close to with the efforts of Big Boy as well. Big Boy and Poppy as well doing their thing. But this is where I want to see them actually join back up together again. Another flash on the corner, but through the smoke too. There's just so much cover. The TP away is close, but Lexi and the rest overpower Atlantic.
Overpowering him for sure. Atlantic just taken up on the points. Still, it's a very close game. Only 4 frags separating these 2 teams. But overall, we're taking a top-down look at this game, right? Atlantic just moves so well together. So Fappy, what they've got to do is make sure that they can keep these fights up and keep the momentum high when they've got the lead like this. And 13 of 14 here, they've closed it to a 1-point game. This is the moment, right? Export Atlantic have spaced themselves out. They've slowed it down. You can tell Atlantic are in control of the pacing here, but Fappy still find 2 good ones and keep it a 1-point game.
And not actually the cover. You see, it was so close for so long. Not able to get the health back to increase a little bit with that region, and from there, it's 2 for free essentially. But once again, it's a lot of cover fire laid down. And one strategy I want to talk about too is that we've seen that Fappy do this a lot, where when a fight becomes tough, it's a natural start being able to be behind your opponent, be catch them off guard. But Atlantic are moving in such a way that they're kind of doubled up, right? One in front, one in the back, so you never truly are left out stranded or get taken out by surprise rather, which I find that strat in general has really helped out in the coming out on top. A lot of these trades with Fappy should have an advantage in.
Yep, Pulse doing a good job of just wrapping around the map, trying to scout out where the enemies are. A lot of jump peeking here around that head area. Good stuff, and it's tied up for just a moment before Export Atlantic take back the lead, 24-23. Fappy, though, they are in this to win this. 5 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock, and it is a close game, man.
Much closer than the last we saw around this point is where Atlantic had taken almost, I think, a 6 or 7 kill lead, and the lead continued to go even further. But as of right now, Atlantic playing a lot safer. We see much longer angles. Meanwhile, while they're playing their life too here on both sides, and now they can try to pop back into the fray. They see one across the corner, but as they're both separated, they're comment like, "Yo, we can move into this." One's right below the high ground as well, and two are wrapping around, and there we go. Big boy, that's exactly that.
That's exactly that. Now onto the high ground, like you're mentioning. Fappy at the bottom, getting naded out. These smokes are awesome to conceal large swaths of area and force people to respect it. If you go in, you never know what you might find. Mine, a sticky, a whole team. And of course, just like that, Atlantic positioned themselves into the high ground, taking the lead, and busted open with 8 points now separating the two squads.
As soon as I was saying that Fappy has actually kept it close, unfortunately, Atlantic taking a dominating lead. And now the deagle shots from long range, clean. What a shot.
Yep, man, that hand cannon just does damage. And of course, it's only got 2 bullets per mag, and it's only got 4 bullets total. So once you use it up, it is done, but it is devastating. If you've got the crosshair placement, and if you can hit the shot, does a lot of damage, but can't find the ending of that frag. We'll have to let him live, but Atlantic doing a good job, still ticking up on the scoreboard.
And the strat they're using is naturally what I see in a lot of arena shooters, right? You use your power weapons to whatever you can to gain enough chip damage that you can use either your burst or your AR to finish off the rest, right? Just whatever 30, 40 health you have left, that is where it comes in, that you try to incorporate the spray and do that with the hand cannon in general, because it's one shot to the dome is completely like a 40 like kill, but in essence, it's still a body shot that you're low enough that a couple of shots from your AR to you go attract them right, and that's you moving forward just like that. We see SK Joe doing that too.
Just the pressure is so high from Atlantic, it's actually insane, because they know where Fappy want to play, because there's a couple of great spots on this map and there are a couple of not so great spots, and really contesting for each of them is what sets the pace of the game. So moving between the spots, keeping it flowing. Atlantic looks so good as Big Boy and SK finds 49, looking for number 50 here, and it'll happen shortly, I'm sure. And there it is, SK with the shotgun close range.
As Big Boy this time has also taken the mantle of 21, and they had previously on the side of Lexi in general. So that's the kind of progression we've seen with some of the closer games, though. You do see in terms of spread for the KD, right? It ends up being that it's right around, maybe like 18, 15, 14, just somewhere around there. It's a lot more even, but in games that get a bit more one-sided, one player continues to shine, and today as Big Boy in this second game at BO3.
Beautifully done. You got to give it to them. And of course, shout outs to Atlantic, taking it 2-0 over Fappy here, sending them down to the lower bracket. And of course, we still have a lot of matches that we're waiting for to finish in the lower bracket. Let's go ahead and take a look at that bracket and see how it's been updated and see the progress on the matches so far.
As we'll find this right now, as we'll see in maybe there's one too many games that we don't need to be played, but either way, naturally, as you mentioned, Atlantic have moved on towards the end. Of course, being the grand finals that we're talking about, and Fappy as well, right there, waiting to see who they will be facing in the lower finals. Nonetheless, whoever the winner of that will be, we'll likely find out as we get towards the lower bracket games we were talking about. We'll have at least 2 or 3 of those. Like you mentioned, 300 is paying Crims and Chrism 2. we're going up against the winner of Exborg Noobs and the Club BR. We're not sure of who that is just yet, but we can find out for you when we get into the game in a little bit.
Yep, a lot of action still to come, but like we mentioned, ooh, look at that. It looks like Chrism 2 and the Club BR both move forward into that match. So that will be the very next match that we have on stream. And the winner of that moving on to face Exborg Fappy. And of course, the winner of that heading to our grand finals where Atlantic waits for them in the distance.
Right. So will Exborg Fappy be able to get the run back up against Atlantic, or will it be Chris M2, to be able to take it all the way home? Considering what we have so far, Jim, honestly, if we can, I'm down to just hop into this game right away. If all the players are ready, I think I'm ready to go as well.
I mean, yeah, that would be awesome. Hopefully these players are ready. But of course, we saw Chrism just dominating in the top bracket. Going up against Atlantic, though, that is now who is in the grand finals. You know what I mean? So if you go to the span of 5 points against Atlantic, the grand finals player, I would feel pretty good in this lower bracket. So the Club BR, although they've got fans in the chat, they've got their work cut out for them for sure in this lower bracket, man.
Yeah, that's the biggest instance, right? Because if we're looking between these two teams, then things continue to get tougher for themselves. It's with Chrism 2 was one of the only teams we saw, keep it so that it was almost deadlocked between them and Exborg Atlantic. Right now, for the Club BR, Chrism, the Club BR also didn't do too hot. If you look at their overall run, right, it's all the way from the top side. Although they won up against, Good Game Hunters, but Exborg Fappy was able to overpower them, pretty handily. And then dropping down to, it's pretty solid that they did beat the Noobs. So one more Exborg team we'll have to say goodbye to. Now between the two of them, they will have to put up a real solid showing to face Fappy after the next.
Absolutely. They're going to have to put up a solid showing, but we are lucky in that we do have the game ready. So there will be no break, and we are going to hop right on into that action. That's Chrism versus that other team down at the bottom, the Club BR. And of course, representing Brazil, I want to say, because the Club BR, I can't imagine what else it would stand for. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm excited for that team to be going up against one of the best teams we've seen so far in Chrism, of course, in the red, and of course, the Club BR in green. 0-0. Let's get on into it, Fractal.
I mean, it might be the Club Battle Royale, but we're not playing BRs here today, my friend. That's
true.
Club BR. Besides that, they want to try to overpower the ones who took it to Atlantic 2-0 start. Love to see that. I will see if Chrism 2 can perhaps claw their way back. The laser rifle being used. So one player clearly established in the dominance, so they know they can hold the high ground. The lasers and the sniper being used. This is a classic strat that I'm very used to here.
Yeah, classic for sure. And of course, finding a lot of damage already. We talked about Chrism being one of our better squads in the tournament. The Club BR had the lead for a little bit, but Chrism immediately take it away. And the next fight starts out here with Crunk and getting lasered by My Cow and his teammate Magnet. So keeping the pressure up, the Club BR snatched back the lead. And just like that, they find a wipe.
You're saying now with an MP5 also just used too to take a lot more of the close range battles. I like that it was used a lot more for the tracking, because looking at the spread so far, right, with the bullet time that you have, you can make it so that you are tracking even though it looks like you're a little bit delayed. So that allows it to be, even though they're in the air, right, the bullets will still manage to hit in an arc, which is the most crucial thing you want to try to nail down when you're getting used to the game like EV.io.
Yeah, absolutely. M2RK, Nizen connecting for 3 in a row. Beautifully done. And just like that, swinging the match in their favor with this Deagle in hand. Of course, this is a lot of damage if you can connect those shots. And of course, Crunk doing his best. Magnet, though, coming out on top as M2RK gets the trade on back. A tight game for sure, Rav. But I love to see it as we are just in the lower bracket here. So the winner from this proceeds on to one more lower bracket final match. And the winner from that will be going into the best of 5 grand finals.
Yes, sir. Right. Exactly like you said. It's this BO3. It resides on a ton for themselves. Meanwhile, Exborg Atlantic are up top, just chilling for now. 2 more BO3s will have to be played to see who faced them in the finals, in that best of 5 finals, if anything. So, not necessarily over right away, but got a lot more games coming at your faces. Chrism 2 takes a 4-kill lead.
Keeping the pressure down. Magnet knows he's in a tough spot, but he's keeping no minds on the TP. Getting wrapped around the right side from Crunk, and Crunk actually comes out on top. Beautifully done as M2RK lays down the suppressing fire.
Season 2 right now, taking a couple of seconds, looks to regroup, though they're still holding the high ground like you're saying, and that on its own, it's funny enough that the over the club BR has actually been able to take them off of this, but they're still looking to move forward. They see where they're all spawning. They've done a lot of damage. Moves into 3 and cannot be able to find the tracking. Unfortunate trades there, but the shotgun comes in, and that's the clear that we're looking for.
Woo. Absolutely insane. Let's see if they can keep it up here as the Club BR are struggling now against this stack team in Prism 2. It is absolutely an insane matchup here as M2RK doing so well for himself with this absolutely insane laser of a machine gun that he's wielding.
And the laser rifle is not the only thing that's continues to be a laser in this game, Jim. But currently, it's all the members of Prism 2. We're looking to show that they deserve to be the top once again. They want to face Atlanti again. And now 31-12, only a little bit away, taking the first game and perhaps even moving on to face the final X-Broke team left in the bracket.
Keeping the pressure high. Chrism just kind of hanging out at this point. Crunk keeping it moving. Trying to get the shots down on the left side. Good couple of shots here down onto Nizin, but moving together. Oh, just getting the jump down onto Samahata, who stands no chance as M2RK, distracting them in the front, and Nizin and Crunk coming in from the back, finding 2 and trying this pressure yet again. The rocket connects, and the follow-up from Crunk is good. This teamwork is so strong on Chrism 2.
10 kills remaining. We're gonna get a well-oiled machine, not needing to be tuned up at all. What was that transfer as well? With just 7 more to go. They fought a couple of seconds with the smoke. The Club BR, they've got the work cut out for them too. It's close beginnings, but tough endings. Now Chrism just gotta close it out.
Oh. Trying to hit that shot at distance, but he's not able to do it. Magnet 160 instead connects with the MG down onto Crunk. Getting it back, though. Good couple of shots, and Chrism just 3 points away from locking in this round 1 victory in this BO3.
2 more to go on the side of Chrism. Sniper still trying to be used, switching out, and that quick fix will land them at 50. 24 taken by M2 as well. What a showing and what a start.
Yeah, M2RK, it's a name that I was not familiar with until I started getting into aim training a couple of, I want to say like a year ago or so, and then started seeing these videos on Twitter, and I wasn't sure if it was the same player, so I did some research as this game was going on. But yeah, it's that guy from Kovacs and from AIM Labs who's #1 on multiple things. So absolutely insane. And of course, the level of talent that we're talking about here is so high. So competition is abundant for sure. And that's just round 1 of this BO3. And for Chrism now to be in the lower bracket, I think puts more into perspective how good Atlantic really is.
Man, dude, that's actually so cool. I didn't realize that he was #1 on both platforms as well. Because like AIM Labs, I get with practice, but Kovacs too. Damn, wow.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of different, challenges and things and like scenarios that you can do. And so across a couple of them, he holds a couple of different #1 and world records. So it's just an absolute insane aimer. And of course, showing in his KD, I think it was 6 on the dot. So that's a lot to say the least. He had nearly half the team's kills.
Yeah, it was 6 on the dot. We just got confirmation from production too, but we'll see if he can actually beat that potential KD as he look to hop in to our next BO3, well, the next game in that same BO3, I should say, sorry. So we'll see if perhaps M2RK will continue to move on forward and perhaps even face the final export team that's stuck in the lower bracket and be able to take on Export Atlantic once again as they did previously. Well, time will tell.
Absolutely, man. there is a lot in this storyline, and I can't wait to see where these grand finals go. But of course, we still got a couple of matches before we get there. We are only on the round 2 of this best of 3 in the lower bracket. I believe we're in the semis. After this, we've got the losers finals, and then we've got grand finals shortly after. So it's going to be a good night so far, man. And this level of competition really is just astounding. Some of the stuff that we're seeing, I'm like, huh? Like, what? Just nuts, man. The arena shooter is back. It's fun.
Right, exactly that. So from what we experienced so far, just some nuts hand cannon shots, like you were saying, to the snipes. Though have been hitting quite nicely as well. And I do like integration of the laser rifle too. We haven't seen, I think, much of that at all. Only just one person, I think, using that, along with one person using the burst as well. But we'll see what goes on as you get into the second game in our BO3. Now this bracket here.
See how they keep it up as Nizen finds 2 back-to-back. Beautifully done. My cow comes out on top of Kronk. As Nizen now trying to help out his teammate. They've got the respawns. M2RK in the distance, opening things up. Prism just feeling confident, moving confidently, and the score's reflecting it. 5-1. They're looking for number 6.
The confidence is exactly what we want to see out of a team like Prism as well, too. They kept it close between them and the Club BR in the previous game, and now a 6-kill lead is what stands. If they want to continue to grow it as well and to take the fight, to find the spawn, 2 taken out. They're going to make it a full squad wipe, but cannot find the final. And they see that they've played their lives, and there we go.
Keeping the pressure high yet again. Chrism not coming off that pedal at all. 11-1. The Club BR finally find a second as Magnet 190 connects down onto Krunk, but Nizen and M2RK are just putting on a show here. Honestly, let's see what this does with the sniper. Close range, finds 1, finds 2. Oh, yeah, this guy is nuts. He's looking for a 3rd quick scope, and he can't do it.
Not the full hat trick, but that was nuts on its own, considering the close range snipe shot as well, the quick scope by the end. I haven't been able to see many shots like that throughout the day, but I mean, naturally it becomes that these are the first competitors that we have to show. It's EV.io 3v3 tournament. Remember, they're playing for a lot of prize money here, Jim, and it clearly shows nobody wants to give up just yet.
25 now, 6 minutes left on the clock. Prism keeping the pressure high. My cow on the side of the clubber. Of course, you can see, or the Club BR rather, you can see that he's got the stamina and the sprinting level ups because this guy is moving right now. But M2RK into it and just keeps the pressure high and the aim going. Finds 2 back-to-back.
Literally 3 times the kill is what we're seeing between the Club BR and Chrism M2, if my math is correct, and already halfway there within 2 minutes. That could have closed things out. Chrism M2 is not playing any games, not taking no prisoners, and it's wipe after wipe within seconds. But right now, though, this might be where they're in trouble. Only managed to get 1, but it's up against 3 nonetheless.
30-10. Shots with the hand cannon, baiting him out. Woo. He connects with the deagle and then pulls out the real gun. Finds 2 back-to-back. Nizen now looking for more. You can see this guy's only got 1 bullet left. Sticky nade, the close range here. Make sure to respect that distance. Nizen's movement is so clean, man.
Ooh. Switching out the hand cannon, sniper shot all landing, but it's fine because he still manages to clean out the kill by the end of it. Now 36-11. Chrism M2, 13 kills away. Moving on to our lower finals. And facing the other Xborg team. Damn. Dominance is nothing but.
Yeah, dominance, absolutely. Of course, like we're mentioning, just these players are stacked. It's 42-12. Prism putting on an absolute show here. And of course, we see you guys in the chat as well. Why don't you sign up? That's a good question. Why don't you sign up? Next week, we've got that 1v1 tournament, brought to you by Coinbase and Communitygaming. And it is free to sign up, and there's $5,000 on the line. EV.io, you can play on your phone, you can play on your tablet, on your PC, wherever you may be, the game will be there with you. So, yeah, why not, man? Make it happen.
Yeah, really easy to do so. Of course, like you're saying, we do, of course, have one tournament going on. There's a lot going on there, too. And it's fine. If you ain't got no friends, you don't need any, but Charism M2 does. And they've also managed to land themselves the dub as well. To take the clean 2-0 and move on to lower finals.
Absolutely. You can see how stacked that scoreboard looked for Chrism too. And just impressive that Atlantic was able to send them down to the lower bracket. But I don't know if they're going to be able to repeat that performance. Chrism 2 looked like they've warmed up all the way and are firing on all cylinders, Rav. So I don't even know what to expect moving forward. But the Chrism 2, with that victory, move on to losers finals.
Right. And all that remains is just one game, that being up against X-Borg Fappy. Of course, if they can take them down, they'll be once again faced against Atlantic, but this time at a BO5. Atlantic, of course, coming out on top with just 2 kills in their best of 3. I taking the 2 against them. And I said this before, I fully expect this to be a grand final match, but as of right now, it's still one more game remaining.
One more game remaining. Where did I get which from? True. Still stuck at Halloween. But yeah, man, Chrism 2 versus Export Fappy is going to be good. Atlantic did pretty well against Fappy, which, if we're thinking about calibers of teams, Chrism is definitely Atlantic caliber, if not better. So this match, I want to say I'm favoring Chrism heading into it, but anything is possible. Fappy, maybe they feel the pressure, maybe they feel the fire under their butts, and they overperform here and take us to the grand finals themselves. There's a lot on the line. $10,000, title of victor of this 3v3 extravaganza. I think there's a lot of pressure here.
100%. Because Fappy themselves, though, they did a solid job trying to contend against Atlantic, but I do not think Atlantic has dropped a single game throughout this entire tournament yet. Right? Not yet. So maybe Chris could be the one to do it, or it may just be a D3-0 for Export and Atlantic, because Fappy right now is all that remains between them. We still gotta give it a bit of time, until you get to that, though. We're seeing if we can get into the game as well. But we'll take a 3-minute break. When we come back, we should have lower finals for y'all. We'll see you in just a little bit. How you doing? We had a good little break. I know Jim did. I know I did. As we head towards the lower finals, right here on the Community Gaming Extravaganza. Ready, Jim?
Yeah, I'm ready. We've got a lower bracket final, if I'm not mistaken, ready to rock for you, of course. They've already started, so let's get into that bad boy.
Yeah, let's hop right on in right at the beginning of the game, my friend. Tuda as the two decks were Fappy and Chrism 2. Let's say Chrism 2 was that left looking like the team to beat in this lower bracket as well, and so far that does stand corrected.
Yeah, looks insane. Chrism 8-5. They're keeping the pressure high, but they're keeping their distance as well. 3-on-3 now. Red team, M2RK. I am excited to watch this guy play. You know, he's the aimer for sure, and just putting up consistently high scores in this group. Impulsing down, taking the high ground, looking for some tracking machine gun shots. He can't find it, and instead his teammate will actually go down a pulse. So not working out for Chrism there. Can't seem to find the shots, but his teammates are there to finish it up and follow it up. Chrism 9-6 right now.
9-6, and that lead will only continue to grow more, my friend, as it's 11-8. But that 11 number, though, seems to be just shrinking by the second 4-kill lead as Chrism is looking to maintain. But this is kind of the overall trajectory that we saw previously as well in the lower bracket. It's just the previous game where it continued to be super close. The second game, though, was a complete washout. But as right now, Expert Fappy doing their thing. 3 down still, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if they can keep up in score, rather. 14-10. Chrism still in the lead. Chrism in the red that you're seeing in the distance. We are on board with Pulse right now from Export Fappy. Taking the TP now to the right side into the hallway. It is always a dicey spot to be in because it's just like a blender. You know what I mean? You hop in, you're gonna get hit with frags, you're gonna get hit with shots from that high ground. And instead now Pulse drawing some attention to the right side, tries to pulse out of there, but can't escape as Krunk finds 2 across the map, opening up that gap for Chrism now to 6.
Expert Fappy now have to look for a way to possibly hop back into this game, right? We're talking a lot of strats already today. For example, like controlling spawns on the power weapons, right? Maintaining high ground, playing on the smoke as well. Now they back themselves into an unfortunate corner, but up top comes in Chrism, but Fappy doing a good job of trading back here.
Even the shots on point, but not able to connect on the final blow there. Krunk doing a good job of staying alive for as much as he can, but inevitably goes down to Big Brain Poppy, who finds another down onto Nizen as M2RK connects for more. This gap is closing though, Rav. It's close to 4 points, and it's a tight game. Chrism in an unfamiliar position here, or rather a familiar position, the one that put them into the lower bracket in the first place. A close game between these two now.
And the biggest factor in that is, my friend, is how Expert Fappy was managed to monopolize all the big power weapons, right? They managed to take the shotgun as well, too. It was taken across the other end of the map. Sniper as well was taken away alongside the grenade launchers, too. So all of those putting out some big damage to Chrism, too. Not able to trade things out because they were either taking a ton of chip damage from just the shots being thrown wide at them, or from there, too, it was always just 2-for-1s. And as of right now, Chrism still able to be up by 6 and seem to learn their lesson. Sniper shot from up top. Cannot find it.
Yeah, no connection there. 32-24. Chrism ultimately displaying a mastery of the movement in this game. That's what's separating them right now from Fappy, even though Fappy have such great windows of opportunity. Krunk and the rest of the team are setting up plays mid-air, and even though the fight is going down right now with M2RK coming out on top with a mine and an MG kill as he's on the run, Chrism 2 find windows like that all the time. And just again, right there, Nizen following up on these faraway shots from Krunk. This teamwork's on point.
And even though they continue to snowball themselves more and more forward, all that remains 13 kills. Export Fappy unfortunately falling behind, but the 2-for-1 works out. Big Brain Poppy managed to dodge all those shots somehow, but for how much longer is the question? The deagle being used to pop across. They see where 2 of them are, and should be able to intercept him. This should be a pretty big fight. The side of Chrism, but they come out on top of this, and they should be able to cement their first round lead. But happy, keeping it close.
Keeping it close, yeah, 8 points just separating the two squads. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock as Chrism 9 points away from securing a first round victory here. It's still a best of 3 until we head into the grand finals. We are in the lower bracket finals right now, and Chrism, they are 9 points away, keeping this detailed on the left side. Great shots from Poppy, hits the heady and is out of there. The pressure's coming down onto him from Crunk, but he's going to finish over the kill with his teammate there. M2RK still tearing it up in the back line, but Big Brain and the rest of his team keeping their distance. It's a 6-point game.
6 is all that divides them, which is a lot nicer from the 10 that all that remained, but only 6 more is what Chrism 2 need to be able to take the first game. And right now, it seems that they're very determined to ensure that they manage to get to that number without losing too many more. But Axwer, Fappy, keep on to these 2-for-1s. They're only 4 down. They could possibly do this.
They could. They really could. And I think there's a lot of pressure here that Chrism are feeling just because of that potential. It's still possible for Fappy, and Chrism don't want to get knocked out, man. They worked so hard in this lower bracket, and of course, just phenomenal players overall. Only looking for 2 more, as Fappy needs 7 more overall. Seems unlikely, but unlikelier things have happened, man. Chrism now keeping up the pressure, and 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock here with just one frag remaining.
Yeah, getting 2 squad wipes is the key, but was not going to happen. And Chrism 2, once again, taking the first game in our best of 3 in our lower bracket finals. 1 game remains between them and possibly Atlantic once again.
Yeah, just phenomenally done by that Chrism team. You know, there's nothing else to it. Their movement was good, their shots were good, and Fappy got really close, even narrowing it down to 4 points near the latter half of that match. But in the end, Chrism were the ones that come out on top. But like you said, man, it's only the first round of this BO3. We might be heading to our first game 3 of the day.
Entirely possible. We know, at least for a best of 5, right? We will definitely see a game 3 because that's how that works out. But hopefully not just 3 games, if anything, as we look to get into our next lobby in just a tad. I don't know. Like Chrism 2, right? We're seeing, like, although it's still a much closer game, but
right,
it could be either way. Like I'm still unsure of this. Yeah.
It really could. And I think that's what Chrism have to remember. As awesome as they are, as mechanically gifted as they are, as, you know, as much of a hard worker you may be, there is still always, you know, overconfidence. You could slip up just from feeling too good in your position. You might feel like you have it secured, but they're 4 points away at any given point. So really, it could all turn on a dime. So keep the pressure up, keep your game concise, you know, keep it tight, and let's take this. Let's move from the lower finals, and maybe Chrism make it to the grands, but there is still yet round 2. So a lot of pressure, man. And these guys have been playing for a minute at this point.
Yeah, sure. Entirely possible that, you know, they've that maybe just the endurance is may run out here, or maybe Chrism hit the second wind somehow, where they can see themselves so close to the top, where, considering how much money you are playing for, right? All it's a lot of kind of waiting for you to be grasped. It can do something to you where you're thinking, that's it. It's right there. It is in front of me. All I gotta do is go out there and grasp it.
That's it, man. So just, you know, keep your eyes on the prize, keep your eyes on the game ahead of you, as you still have a ways to go. Pressure is on for sure. They're playing for $10,000, and that's just this weekend. Next week, we got a $5,000 tournament happening. Where and when, Rav? What's going on?
Well, my friend, it's happening right over here. And it's happening. We got this going on as well. And that's the Communitygaming hosts yet another even IO tournament next week. Makes Wallet 1v1 tournament to crown the absolute champion. You want to find out more about that? Exclamation Coinbase 1v1. Hop on EV.io, get you some crypto, win some prizes, and more as we head into our next BO3 game.
Absolutely. And of course, in the green, we've got Chrism, and in the red, we've got Export Fappy, who have taken a pretty strong lead in the first couple of seconds of this match, 3-2, but it's even out immediately as Chrism make it 4-4.
It was unfortunate as actually Fappy actually walked back. Chrism actually walked back into Export Fappy, as you saw. But now the TPs, it hasn't been that big of a factor that we've had to talk about in the past couple of games. As the high ground has been the main point of contention, but even that right now, you can see why it consider to be such a powerful point because you have such an advantage, and considering how you can control and nail down as many shots as possible, anybody who comes out of there. Export fact, you want to fight for it.
You want to fight for it. Keeping hot. Man, this guy is insane. I'm watching him aim too, and this is making me feel bad about my aim because I know, like, I'm watching his range of motion no matter where the enemy is, be it in the sky, be it under him, be it to his left, be it to his right, or 180 degrees behind him. This guy is ready to rock. And this MG in his hands, that tracking ability, is just giving him so many opportunities. And you see him nailing people from across the map, no matter what. This kill feed is lit up with M2RK's name.
Round and round we go, my friend. Back and forth, but Chrism finally getting a substantial lead, that being just 2. But 2 is all they're looking for, right? Because they have to see how they can keep Export Fappy down. And right now, what was 2 turns into just 1. Export Fappy do not want to go down without a fight.
Absolutely. This is a close game. And of course, M2RK still just lighting up that scoreboard. Big Brain Poppy for the side of Export Fappy finds Crunk. But again, it looks like Chrism, honestly, it seems like they're lacking a little bit because Crunk finally puts himself on the board, but M2RK doing a lot of this work by himself, it feels like. Of course, might just be cleaning up the kills, you know, from his teammates, but at the end of the day, M2RK, he's been leading the way for the rest of his team, and, you know, this is a tight game, and he needs his teammates to step up here.
Every single member to be putting in their work, my friend, especially on the side of Fappy, and they're doing that. Because currently, still got the 1 lead, right? They're not giving away as many 2-for-1s as they did previously. And I think that's also made Chrism have to question how they're looking to fight against them, because Fappy looks a lot different, like a lot better, but it's still 25-25. Both teams need the exact same number of kills. Now Chrism, it's a chance for grand finals, and for Fappy, it's elimination.
It's a scary place to be in. Fappy finally take the lead here, putting Chrism 2 in a weird situation. They are feeling the flashbacks of what sent them into the lower bracket, and with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, we are pretty much halfway through the game. And, you know, it's a 1-point game here, and it's slowed way down, like you mentioned, Rav. Nizen had pulled out the sniper. They're trying to think about, okay, what do we need to do differently to take back the lead and keep it here?
Seems as though right now Fappy back into a corner, but Seth Chrism moves up top, end up losing 2. Like that 3 gamble play, and Poppy will take all of that. Only 1 ticket in contention. Oh, but Chrism, this right here is to continue to fight. What a play, what a run back from them.
What a run back indeed, but Fappy still somehow in the lead by just 1. Now trying to take it back. 3 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. We have tied it up as Nizen finds a great one with the Deagle. M2RK keeps it tied and takes the lead now, but it's so back and forth. The team play is lacking, I feel like, because these kills are coming in from random spots of the map. You know, everyone's isolated here, and finally they're taking a second to try and group back up.
Yeah, like once again, you saw this with the move in, but they get down Big Brain Poppy. This is where, you know, it's a 2v3. This is where you have to fight. The name manages to find 1, but continues to be tied up. Clays by Xborg to not get caught out.
Chrism with the sniper in hand onto Nizen, taking back the lead by just 1 point. With 3 minutes left on the clock, Pulse trying to get a couple of snipes here with the hand cannon. Can't find anything, though. Reloads with the final 2 bullets in the mag. Looking for 1, misses it. Tries to find a second and hits it in the midair. Gets the mine kill as well, but does frag himself in the process. So Fappy, off the back of that Hail Mary, take the lead, found a 2-point lead for just a second. Now Chrism, again, back on the back foot with about 10 points left until we're done with this game.
And that right there, it was Fappy's attempt to try to battle against the long range T1, try to move in to close things out, but they can't do it. They go over the hand cannons. They know they're low enough to the side. They got to play their lives, but Prism 2 were hot on their tail. Just about half taking out Fappy again. Big Brain Poppy gets the nade kill, but at what cost is the question. 1-2. Poppy still somehow maintaining a 1-kill lead.
Tied back up now, Crunk. With 2 minutes left on the clock, there's only 8 kills between these teams. And Chrism moving on to the grand finals. Xborg Fappy taking us to a round 3 in our lower side finals, 42-42. It looks like we're on board with Xborg and the red team here, spotting out where Chrism are, realizing they're taking the high ground. They're going to shift to left now and instead try to take the high ground back. They've got all their impulse nades. They've got all the util they want. And the green team has started the aggression down onto the red team. Close quarters. And it looks like Crunk is going to be the first one to find a frag here as Floey finds one with the mine as well.
That was so unfortunate because you lost 2 power weapons as well within that battle. And we've been talking about Fappy doing a great job actually controlling the spawns well. And now a 2-kill lead finally taken, but immediately evened up within a matter of seconds. Chrism 2 do not want to go home. Even a melee kill happens, but 3 remain. Chrism 2 want to go to grand finals, Jim.
Want to go to grand finals, and unfortunately it seems like we're gonna miss the real end of that, but it looks like Chrism just in the lead at 48-46. It's a tough situation and we're not sure what it's gonna be at this point, who's gonna take the victory. But if Chrism, with their lead in that last moment, if they win that, they're heading to the grand finals, and the other team, they might be taking us to a round 3 wrap, so we're gonna have to wait to get the results for you shortly.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, we'll try to make sure you get the update in a couple of seconds. We should be able to know who actually did end up winning and came out on top of that. But we'll get that for you as soon as we have some sort of idea, because we're either looking at a game 3 or we're looking at our grand finals, which would be the repeat of what we saw previously. As we'll get that all figured out in a couple of seconds. Until then, yeah, just chill for a bit, breathe.
Just breathe, and we know it's going to be tense because we are, of course, in the lower side finals. And past this, it's the grands, man, and $10,000 are on the line. So I can't wait to see what actually happens out of there. But Chrism, at the very last couple of seconds, with the 2-point lead, only needed 2 more points to close that one out. So in my books, I got to believe it's Chrism with the victory there, but we'll make sure we can confirm that for you guys.
Entirely possible, right? Especially considering they were, locked in, I believe, what was it, 3v3 by the end. So that exchange could have definitely just decided it all. Or maybe Expert Fappy managed to take it all the way through and give us our first game 3 of the day. I'll wait with high hopes and bated breaths for what can potentially happen, though, as we just for confirmation from production to give us the know-how. Well, we'll be going to grand finals or not.
Of course.
While we wait for that, Jim, I was gonna say, dude, what's going on with your sweater? What's
some, the what is that? Like Michelangelo, the Sistine,
like a Leonardo.
Yeah,
like
there's like the God and man are touching fingers.
Oh, like the painting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay.
So this is like, the machine and the man, like doing the same thing, like especially as the conversations around AI are happening, it's a lot of great ethics conversations. But this tournament specifically is the last destination for the Community Gaming Quest platform. You want to go ahead, Rav, and talk about what I'm talking about here?
Well, why not, my friend? If you don't know, Communitygaming has a wonderful questing system. Because, as you know, CG is a tournament platform. Now it's tournaments for a variety of different games, right? Tons of them. Apex, Smash, Hearthstone, more. But if you join the questing system, it allows you to earn rewards for simply using the platform. Each day will be involving learning, competition, social media actions, watching streams like these, interacting here, and earn the USDC and other crypto rewards. Who don't want that free money? go ahead and type in Quest right below if you want to be able to learn from that, or follow the link to start earning rewards for your efforts today. That would be a phenomenal start off. But until then, this is the final stop. Hopefully, y'all have managed to get all your Quest rewards and be able to get as much coin as you could possibly want.
Absolutely.
If not, hey, keep watching.
Keep watching, keep getting involved. And of course, if you want to get more involved, ev.io, you can access the game anywhere where you can access a browser. !CG in the chat, because the Dread Gauntlet for ev.io, if you didn't know, was already brought to you by Community Gaming. CG provides a tournament platform for games like Apex Legends, Super Smash Bros., Hearthstone, and more. Community Gaming also supports a wide variety of grassroots tournaments, offering tools and guidance to organizers to help supercharge their events. Head on over to communitygaming.io to learn more today. And of course, with that, we are still waiting on confirmation here, but as soon as we get that, we will let you know. For now, we're going to head to a short break, get the final verdict on that lower finals, and then perhaps maybe a grand final shortly after. With that, we'll be back and we'll see you soon.
Homies, it's time for grand finals. I hope you all got your chest equipment ready because your heart is going to burst out of it. So make sure to get that locked in as we get into it. Of course, our finals will be Chrism 2 versus Xborg Atlantic, the run back we saw in the upper brackets.
Yes, man, we saw this game earlier today. As close as it was, it could have gone either way, and luckily we have them back in the grand finals, maybe to rewrite some history here, maybe to get some revenge for sending them into the lower finals. Chrism is back with a vengeance faux show. Let us know in the Twitch chat, though, who you've got taking this victory. Will it be Xborg Atlantic or Chrism, two star-studded teams, two stories that we've been watching, and two teams competing for $10,000, Rev?
That's a lot of the line. We've been hyping this up the entire time, and this is it. Best of 5, right? No more just one back and forth game. We're going to at least 3 games this time. So we'll see if Xborg Atlantic can be able to pull up the exact same sort of performance we've seen out of them all day. But Chrism 2 themselves, 1 kill games is all that remained between them the last time we saw them. And even the last game we saw against them at Xborg Fappy as well. That too. 2 kills, just all that and more. They played it methodically, and then when the timing was right is when they popped in. So we'll see if that continues here.
They keep turning it up. And of course, if you're watching any of this and you're looking at how to get involved, because damn, this looks like a lot of fun, head on over to ev.io. You can start playing on any platform, but more importantly, type in !CG, because the EVIO Dread Gauntlet is brought to you by Communitygaming. CG providing a tournament platform for games like Apex Legends, Super Smash Bros., Hearthstone, and more. Communitygaming also supports a wide variety of grassroots tournaments, offering tools and the guidance to organizers to help supercharge their events. Head on over to communitygaming.io today to learn more. Lots of info, man, but of course, lots of opportunity to play to earn some real money. $10,000, man.
No small amount, right? And of course, we're looking at all that. We're looking at the Solana coin that you can also earn as well. And you guys can do this too. We get the 1v1 tournament coming up as well for Coinbase. So that on its own is where you can also earn yourself some money as well, which I know you all want, right? Everybody wants to be able to get some money in the back pocket as we just get the lobbies all ready to go in just a minute while teams get all set up. Because we know, and they know as well, as counts for everything. This is where it all starts, and this is where it all ends as we head into it.
Yeah, with that, we are headed into our grand finals. Like you just mentioned, Rav, we've got Chrism in the green and Xborg Atlantic in the red. It's a rematch of a match that we had earlier in the day that went the distance, and it was close as heck. Starting things off, it's already tied as M2RK coming back with a vengeance, 2-2 now.
They both trade 2 off the first initial engagement as well. And now there are 3 things I'm looking out for, right? It's gonna be control of spot points and power weapons. It's going to be who's pushing more. It's gonna be the control of high ground, right? Those 3 things are what made the biggest factor in the last game between them and of course Xborg Fappy. And currently, no one's really fighting for the high ground just yet, but power weapons don't haven't necessarily come out to play either. So right now, it's just a lot of W keying and trying to link up together, but it's 2v1s though that are going in the favor of Chrism 2.
Absolutely. Let's see how they take this fight and where they take it, because it's 6-6 right now and it's going back and forth for both of these squads. But just like that, Xborg Atlantic, they find 3 or 4 in a row as M2RK finally claps back from across the map. Of course, any of the skins that you see here can be purchased in the game as well, so make sure that if you're interested in earning a lot of Solana while trying to play this game, you get into those skins because they grant you multipliers. So you can learn more about that on ev.io. But as this continues on Xborg Atlantic, find a 2-kill lead, great tracking mid-air, and the pace of the game is drastically different than anything we've seen.
100%, right? Because in this first game, I imagine that we'll continue to find a lot of these like similar types of aggressions, but I found as you get towards games 2 and games 3, there should be a team that takes a pretty clear lead though. But for now, I think Chrism 2 is filling them out, especially after the intense game they just had previously. And right now, they'll likely look to possibly slow things down, especially if they're down by 2-3, but only 2 away, so keeping things close. Chrism 2 putting up a massive fight.
Massive fight. They've managed to tick up the points just as Export Atlantic have, and they've kept it a 1-point game here, 13-14. Prism staying so tight together. Big Boy going down to Nizin with that deagle from range. It's actually a hand cannon. Beautifully done. And just like that, Prism up in the lead now, 15-14, make it 16-16 as the trades are going back and forth into the smoke, though, into the close quarter fight. Tries to get through the TP, but S-Gage is good for the follow-up. 18-17, Prism maintained the lead, but for how much longer, Rav? 5:15 on the clock.
Oh, but it gets harder and harder as we go along here, Jim. And I continue to worry that either side could definitely establish a indefinite lead, because right after Crimson 2 they were down 2, suddenly they're up 3, and now for Atlantic I'm thinking, okay, what happens next, right? Because we saw how back and forth things was, and it can look to tie it up again, right? Because down 3 has been no small margin.
Jeez,
That's 4 now.
Yeah, M2RK looking good and having the help of his teammate. Crunk definitely is a great thing there because he's doing a lot of damage, and Crunk is chipping them away with that deagle. And so good stuff from Lexi and S-Gage working as a group of 2 to dispatch of both Crunk and M2RK, forcing the reset here. Chrism 24-22, 4:20 on the clock.
Man. Closer and closer things go along too. Still maintaining that lead, but Export Atlantic put it down to just 1 though. The nades do a ton of work, and they do not want to give things up just yet. Of course, we've seen them in situations like this before, and this is around the time we do get a couple of seconds to breathe. But what a shot on the other side.
What a shot indeed, and it's still a 1-point game as we're halfway through. 50 points to win this entire thing, and of course we are in a best of 5 situation, Rav, as we are in the grand finals. There is no reset. This is it, baby. This best of 5 determines who's going to be winning the lion's share of that $10,000. Now, slowing it down, Lexi on the side of Export Atlantic, taking it back with the hand cannon in hand, 2 bullets ready to rock. Trying to line up a shot here. Notes Crunk is somewhere in the distance, and S-Gage, where his teammate can't land the hand cannon, he's there to follow it up, and beautifully done from Big Boy and S-Gage indeed to take back the lead here.
Yeah. Really patient play there as well, because you saw how between them and SK too, they were using the hand cannon to be able to land a lot of long-range shots, and as soon as they saw that one was confirmed, then right from there, quick move in and to be able to just overpower him within a matter of seconds. But Export Atlantic though, still down 5-4.
Sniper in the distance. We're gonna expand this lead. Nizin watching. Rest of the team waiting to explode. They've got their weapons stocked. M2RK, you see him sliding around, and now the aggression is coming out from Export Atlantic, calling Nizin back and the rest of the squad to put down some mines on the flank here. Going close quarters, S-Gage follows up where Nizin couldn't find, or rather, M2RK follows up where Nizin couldn't find anything, finds 2 in the fight, and expands the lead to 5 kills here.
M2RK, a name we've been talking about throughout the entire day. These guys an absolute aim machine, and continuing to play off of him and his team is exactly how M2RK want to try to maintain their lead. But whether we're down 4, they're now all the way up to 40 again. Prism 2 looking to go up 1 in our best of 5 in our finals of the Community Gaming Extravaganza.
Couple of shots now from Big Boy. Can't find the finish though. Finds 1 onto Crunk. Can't find the second onto Nizin. To be expected. The trades are even for both sides, and the gap is closing as Export Atlantic make just 2 points to separate these 2 squads with a minute 30 left on the clock. Prism only needs 8 more frags, Rav. Things are getting intense, and we are only in round 1 of this best of 5, but every single point counts here as M2RK finds 1. Lexi and Big Boy find 2, and it's tied back up, Rav.
That's crazy. And within just seconds too, like that 4-kill deficit closed so quickly. And with a hand cannon shot like that, once again, Export Atlantic are looking to play more of their lives, but they get aggressed upon. 1 was isolated, and just like that, Chrism 2 finding opportunities is what you don't want to do if you were Exborg.
47-46. Crim's just a small lead. M2RK finding these kills where he needs to. That stagger could be all they need, as well as SK finds Crunk. Crim's looking for one more. M2RK on a tear, but he's gonna go down. SKH connects. Nizen finds number 50, and that's gonna be round 1 by a score of 2 points, going over to the side of Chrism 2.
What a back and forth that was. And this is the finals that we wanted to see, Jim. This is what we wanted to experience continuously. 4 kills matched up, right? Taking back the lead again and again. And now 2RK, 25 kills dropped. This guy's a beast.
Yeah, man, the CG EVIO Community Gaming Extravaganza is nothing short of that, as we are in round 1 of this best of 5 grand finals. The tightest games we've been having all day. This is what we saw earlier in the day today as well. But Chrism now on the upside of this story, right? By 2 points, they're able to stick it out and win that first round. So still a ways to go, Rav, but we might just be rewriting their own history here.
Entirely possible, right? Dropping down previously, although in a close 2-0, and now once again in the grand finals. You know, maybe they're on such a hot streak that Chrism don't want to give things up just yet, but maybe we see Atlantic need some time to warm up a little bit. If anything, maybe that was the warm-up game. I'm not too sure, but considering where we're at, though, let's look to get the new lobby set up, hop into our second game in the grand finals in just a little bit. But Chrism right now looks so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, in the Switch chat, we see you all, and we are all appreciative for you guys showing up time and time again. This time around, though, let us know who you've got taking the victory here, right? We're heading into round 2. Is it going to be Chrism? Is it going to be Xborg? Who do you got taking the dub? Who do you got taking the dub overall? Of course, we want to shout out as well Community Gaming for putting on this entire event, right, Rav?
Yes, your Community Gaming, IO for helping do this, of course, and of course Coinbase alongside Solana Coin helping make all of this possible, my friend. Sitting with these two, remember, Community Gaming is also a huge questing platform. This is, of course, one of these stops and near the final stops for the year as well. You can earn some crypto for yourself. If you want to plus EV.io, well, hey, type in that in your browser, ev.io. That's it. That's all it takes. And just like that, you're on the site, you're playing the game before you even know it. And a small note for Google Chrome out users as well that I learned to is if you just turn on hardware acceleration on Google Chrome as well, that should help out your cases a lot. If you're not a Google Chrome user, that's fine. You should be okay to play the game.
Yeah, I've been finding that it works really well with Edge and Chrome specifically. So I've been using those two browsers. I know our producer uses Brave browser or Opera, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Opera. So it works well on a variety of browsers. And of course, on your mobile devices as well. You just hop in on the browser on your phone, be it Safari or whatever else you've got on your Android or Apple device, and hop into the game, man. It's free to play. And of course, you can start earning today. So get grinding, get into the arena. Played games like Halo, COD. This is just the same. Takes all the little elements from games like that and puts it into one arena FPS shooter. So it's been a lot of fun.
Now, the fun shall likely continue as soon as we get all our players wrestled up to be able to get into lobby. And as soon as that starts up, we'll be able to give you the results for what remains, what continues, right? Although only only one round lead. We'll see what happens next as we hop into the second game in our best of 5 grand finals.
Yes, sir. Chrism 2, rather, currently in the lead in this best of 5 set 1-0. But in this game, as it just begins, it looks like Export Atlantic picking up the first blood, picking up the first lead here, 2-1, as the snipers go to both sides.
I like this though, because what they decided to prioritize instead of moving in for the fight is they went in for the power weapons that are right by them. They got the rocket launcher, they got the sniper, and through just that is they actually came out on top. They're playing a lot more of these long range angles here, Jim, right? They're deciding they don't want to just W key into them yet because that last time did not work out for them at all.
Not work out for them at all. And now Chrism on their back foot. It's kind of similar to how that first game started with Atlantic in the lead, but you know, every point counts. With the last game, the difference only being 2 points. You need every frag that you can get. And Chrism, just like that, M2RK isn't connecting for 3 in a row, making it 6-6.
And we continue to maintain this evenness, which I imagine will follow us all the way up until we get to our 40s, right? So both these teams will continue to trade. Atlantic and Chrism want this bad, but I find right now Chrism wants a little bit more. Chrism wants to get the revenge for what happened previously. They want to show up and show out. A team like them, we're talking about some underdogs where they showed up with dominance, but a team that I find we weren't honestly looking at until they got to show us their performance.
Really the key aspect of these fights, you know, can you work as a team? Can you work to pick up what your teammates have dropped down? 11 to 10, SKH doing a good job of trying to just be a damage dealer at a distance and tailing that with Big Boy and Lexi. They're moving as a group of 3 around this left side. And SKH has taken a bit of damage here, as well as Big Boy, and they realize they're getting closed in on. Good couple of shots down onto Crunk. Lexi connects for another, but Nizin, short range with that shoddy, finds 2 in a row and is out of there, keeping the game tied 13 to 13.
We haven't seen a ton of shotgun plays so far through our lower bracket, especially where, you know, we've seen just a lot more sniper being used, one laser rifle, right? But the shotgun close ranges is what we kind of expecting previously for things to be just so aggressive. It's just so aggressive. But right now, the use of the cleanup is definitely a solid strat, is what I want to see more of as well. As Chrism 2 still 2 kills in the lead, but finally we get a couple seconds of breathing room to see Nezin playing his life. We'll get taken down.
Impulsing out of there, good couple of shots and gets back to the ground. Crunk reloading, keeping his distance as best as he can, realizes he's getting pushed, peeks back out, connects on a couple of shots down into Lexi, but there's a Big Boy behind him who's going to shut him down. 19 to 19 with just under 5 minutes remaining.
I mean, this is what we're looking at. How, you know, will they be the ones to either get to 50 or would run out of the time first, right? Because how much we slowed down the pace of the game. Almost never happened before, but usually around this time with a lot of the high-paced games we've seen, it's been around just the 3-minute mark that we see near the end, but we're already at 4:30 and we haven't reached 25 yet, Jim.
Yeah, great stuff from this red team. We're watching Atlantic trying to work together to try and isolate these fights onto Chrism. And it pays off. Lexi and SKH find 2 in a row as Crunk returns with 2, M2RK with the 3rd, keeping that lead for the side of Chrism. Overall, though, I like the way that Chrism have been playing this because, like we've been saying, they kind of bait in exports, use their movement abilities to get and close the gap. Then Chrism get out of there and allow M2RK to just laser them with support of their team. So 28 to 26, green team still in the lead.
Still maintaining it. Finally, 5 kills is what Chrism has managed to take after keeping things so close between them and Xborg Atlantic. Start off is clean, but Atlantic do not want to give this up just yet. As 7 continues to be the number that they have to try to beat. M2RK on a tear. Wants to go home. He wants to take it, Jim.
Wants to go home, wants to make it happen. 36 to 30. Chrism looking really good with 3 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. Impulsing way up high. M2RK scouting out the opposition. Going to be TPing. Just getting out of that spot exactly. And now with the slide around, paired up with Nizin, deciding to back up and watch this right side flank.
Sees one towards the backside. I don't identify anybody there. Just, yeah, puts the smokes once again. I look at all the control that's there on this corridor as well, too. Like, they're ensuring that Xbox Atlantic has to move in blind and has to use impulses, so they cannot use that to possibly get out. But that on its own, though, works out beautifully. That's the kind of play that we do want to see. So now Xbox Atlantic has trying to find another way, but the high ground maintained, teleporter locked down, and the corridor smoked out. Things are getting tougher.
It's getting tough for sure, and M2RK is just an absolute phenom on the field right now. 43 to 35. Chrism 2 opening up this game, and they're moving more confidently than Xborg Atlantic, and Xborg Atlantic putting up a fight for sure, but these setups from Chrism are so good, and honestly, individually, they're winning their duels at this point. You know, something seems to have clicked for this green team, and they are 4 points away from securing round number 2.
All that takes, though, the flashes come out to stop anything that Export Atlantic might be able to do. They get 1 for free, but now 3 away is Chrism. We're going 2-0 up. And our best of 5, 1 remains. And again, a 10-tail lead almost taken. Atlantic, though, they are 9 away. They could do this, especially if SK keeps doing all that, but unfortunately not. Now, 2-0 is Chrism.
Absolutely insane. And when we're talking about arena shooters combining multiple elements of different games, you've got tracking, you've got projectile, you've got flicking, you've got all these sorts of things happening. M2RK, known as a tracking genius from different scenarios and Kovacs and other things, showing it on, just putting it on display, man. Those skills are for everyone to see, and that MG machine gun tracking is so good in this game. And when you've got skills like him, man, you can put on a show like that, racking up 18 kills with his teammate there for Chrism 2. 2-0 so far in the grand finals. They're 1 round away from securing a best of 5 victory and securing a lot of that portion of $10,000, Rav.
Yeah, it's as with both teams have decided that things have been so intense so far, they probably need a couple of seconds to cool down as well, considering how intense things have been here, Jim. So we ourselves can cool down a little bit too. Talk about a couple of things we've seen so far, maybe vibe for a little bit.
Yeah, but like we're talking about endurance, man, we are in the grand finals. Tensions are high. I'm sure their wrists are sore, their arms are sore from playing for that long and needing to be so accurate, but blowing open that second game for sure. Not as much of a blowout as we've seen throughout the weekend, but man, from going from a 2-point game in the first one to that in the second, we are getting ready to head into our third, though. We are going to take a short 5-minute break as the players get ready, recoup for the next one. But, without further ado, we will see you shortly.
One game remains possibly here, Jim. One game between Chrism taking it all, repeat the grand finals that we saw in Lisbon, in Portugal, or will Exborg Atlantic be able to complete the reverse sweep?
Man, Chrism, I like the story of them so far. Already losing once to Exborg Atlantic today, getting sent down to that lower bracket, and Chrism having to fight all the way back to the top, to the grand finals here, where they're currently up 2-0 over Exborg Atlantic. And the storylines don't get better than this. But of course, these are the veteran players that we've been seeing compete in EVIO tournaments for months at this point. Of course, some of the best in the world at different tracking scenarios and different aiming trainers. So, you know, we'll be starting as soon as we can with the players getting ready to hop into Fractal. But of course, man, there is a lot on the line. $10,000, the lion's share of it at least. And of course, the title of being the best 3v3 players.
Speaking of which, my friend, let's head on into it. Will Chrism give us another show, or will Atlantic go blow for blow as already up 1-0?
Already up 1-0, man. Can you believe that? And Exborg Atlantic is a slow game yet again.
Takes some time as we have switched sides, right? We see Chrism now on the red, Exborg Atlantic on the green. And maybe that's the kind of difference that they're hoping for, right? Maybe this was all it was going to take, a 2-0 start. And they've gained the early control of the high ground as of right now. And Chrism currently, like, not finally able to get their first frag back, but it considered to be a 2-for-1, still 1-0 up on the side of Atlantic. Never mind.
Never mind. Yeah, just like that, it's equalized yet again, man.
Those calls, though, still. We'll take a couple of seconds to breathe for a bit and, you know, to be able to analyze on how these teams continue to adapt. Because currently, you know, that was a nice kill by M2RK, but what I end up looking out for, right, is now on the side of Chrism, what remains, right? Are they able to get in the same positions once again? Because they held a lot of big power angles, which is what just funneled Exborg Atlantic, and currently have not been able to take their spawns yet at all, right? They're still kind of continue to go for these 1-for-1s, which if you're expecting Atlantic, you take these any day of the week.
Okay, let's see if they can keep it up though. Exborg Atlantic fighting 2 in a row. SKH, great job there, close range. Now, getting shot from that deagle at range. Nizen was so good with that. He's been sticking to those flicking weapons, you know what I mean? If you can do large chunks of damage and you pair yourself with someone who's phenomenal at tracking like M2RK with that MG, they can always follow up on your phenomenal flicks. And that's what we've been seeing for Chrism. Just like that, it's tied up, 6 minutes left.
Now they're looking across to see Nizen actually did TP over towards a big block towards the south side. So I will try to follow up on this, but interestingly enough, Chrism decides that they actually don't want to fight us right now. They'll move away. Nizen moves in, gets in the TP, but there's a mine waiting for him on the other side. Beautifully played from Exborg Atlantic to just funnel that kill in.
TP's over, keeping the distance long, but trying to run away from Niz. There is no escape from that man. 15-13, make it 16 for Atlantic. We're feeling good, and the pace of this match seems to have increased quite a lot. You know, there's some ebbs and flows in how these games go, but right now it seems to have established kind of a routine here. Coming around the right side now, Krunk on the side of Nizen and M2RK. Spotting out the green team in the distance, going for the smoke, block that long line of sight, and are wrapping around the left side.
Finally, for the first time, we see Exborg Atlantic actually take a solid dominant lead. 4 kills in their favor as we come to a bit of a halt in the game too. They're taking a couple of seconds, but the fight goes wide. TP used on both sides, but they do get overpowered. Chrism only takes 1, but they have not been able to close the gap as it could be 1-for-1s. And if you are Chrism, you're thinking, yo, this is getting a bit tougher, but 2 go in their favor, and now they got to find a way to play their lives, get their health back, and to possibly to re-engage somehow.
Let's see how they can try and make this happen. Chrism still in the deficit here. They're down by 3 points. If they want this grand finals victory, they're going to have to take this victory. Otherwise, we're going to be going to a game 4, man. Exborg Atlantic, though, still leading by 2 as Nizen and M2RK find 2 in a row. They're trying to close this gap here. That's 3 in a row for the Chrism team as Nizen now connecting again with that deagle, tying things up, but it is so close, Rav. It's so hard to tell where each of these fights is gonna go.
Big Boy and Krong to continue battling, but that TP spot and now in much more high contention than what was seen previously, because you saw last time that Chrism, because they were able to control the high ground, because they were able to cleanly establish like that, just a triangle right around there. They had everything completely, just in terms of how they wanted it. But right now, though, it's a lot more chaotic. It's a lot more back and forth. They're able to close that 4-kill lead, but for how much longer?
Waiting now for the stamina to come back up. Of course, M2RK and the rest of the red team trying to go on that left side, and M2RK keep it his distance, able to laser one. Big Boy goes down, and M2RK tries to get out, but Lexi keen on the shot as Krunk returns with the trade. Good stuff. And just like that, Chrism with a 1-point lead. Finally, Raph, they're back into the game. Export Atlantic shut it back down, 31-31.
A kill for the first time the entire game here, Jim, but I don't think Atlantic cares too much about that, right? Because it's just one, but they've continued trading, and now all Atlantic need is one isolated kill, and they might be able to find it, but what's one takes two on the other side. Chrism, 3 golden away.
Going their way, Chrism. M2RK is just nuts with that tracking, but of course Lexi with that sniper, good as well, finds 2 back-to-back. Yeah, looking to make third, looking to make an equalizer out of this shot, as Export Atlantic are still down 1 at 2 minutes and 20 seconds left remaining. Chrism, they're 13 kills away from securing that lion's share of $10,000, man, and this lead is still so tight, and it's tied up now as Atlantic fighting for it at every moment.
Somebody needs to get the sniper off Lexi immediately, or else there's no shot. Chrism, actually, an M2 can even stay alive for a couple of seconds now. Back up again too, and the hand cannons on their point. Man, they got to be able to look for the more of the power weapons. As after 42 now for Atlantic, once again in the lead.
That's insane. Chrism, how are they going to respond? They don't want this to go to a game 4. With 10 kills remaining for them and 8 kills remaining for Atlantic, Chrism slowing it down a lot here. They need to take these next couple of fights perfectly, if not even more than that, right? They need to start off with a big pick from Nizen like that. They need to use these long-range weapons and allow M2RK to finish it off. And just like that, we're seeing it happen as Chrism find 2 in a row. They find a third, but not before Atlantic ties it up. It's 43-43. Rav and Atlantic are ticking up to 44.
And that's a fight that Lexi definitely wanted to. Taking him out was big, but he gets the frag back. There's a sniper as well in their hand. That's Nizen again. We kept saying this guy cannot have this, but they'll still leave 1 kill in their back pocket. We're down to 55 seconds. This could just come down to time, and I think Atlantic wants that.
I don't know, man. Atlantic in the fight, they're able to come out on top. SKH, 2 such impactful kills right there. They find the 2 that they need, and he finds a nade one afterwards too. Chrism, they're lacking by 2 points. Atlantic 3 points away from taking us to a game 4 and keeping their tournament life alive with 30 seconds left on the clock. Chrism make a 1-point game. M2RK, he's hunting. They're looking to tie things up. It's 48-46. Atlantic still in the lead here as Chrism find 47. It's 49-48. It's a 1-point game. Atlantic looking for number 50 to take us to game 4, and it's 49-49. But Atlantic in the last second, they find number 50. They take us to game 4, Rav.
Oh my god, M2RK was stuffed down so often. Lexi with a monstrous game there. Just 1 kill, 10 seconds. It could have been anybody, but one takeaway we know now is that if Lexi has a sniper, he's always good for 2. He's gonna make sure he gets that back again. And I think they've seen they cannot give that away. Exborg Atlantic looking to make the run back. They want the reverse sweep.
Wow, an amazing round. Of course, Lex, like you mentioned, with that sniper, beautifully done. Always finds at least 2 with that thing. But of course, SKH, the star in the mix there, finds like 2 or 3 in a row with the MG, and then hits the nade after his death to find just 1 more. And in the end, just that 1 more is what got them that victory, 50-49, and we're heading to game 4, Rav. I cannot believe it.
It is, and it continues to be anybody's game, right? Once again, how it was just so close between the two of them, right? And it was so even as well for so long, but Xborg Atlantic at 2 kills, 3 kills, coming back on the other end from Chrism, back from a 5-kill deficit, but still just right there, small bits of momentum, a better spawn points, and having the man advantage allowed them to get it, because you saw Chrism was trying to flank them as well, to try to cast them off a surprise, could not do it.
Yeah, it was just really tough, and ultimately what Chrism should have been doing from a little bit earlier in the game is slowing it down, getting those picks, because we saw once they slowed it down, once they allowed Nizen to pick up these rifles, they found the pick, M2RK getting those MG finishes. That's exactly the cadence that we needed, and they brought it back to a 1-point game. Oh, man. Of course, hindsight's 2020, but, you know, with that, the record right now in this grand finals best of 5 is 2 to Chrism 2, and, of course, 1 for the other team here in Xborg Atlantic. So, heading into game 4, man, we might be seeing a game 5 for the first time today. We might be seeing a reverse sweep. $10,000 on the line, Rav. It doesn't get better than this.
No, sir, it does not. It's entirely possible that we go to a 2-2. We see all 5 games, or maybe Chrism, you know, ends up closing things out. It depends on how bad they want it. I think early leads are exactly what would benefit them, because they were not able to hang on to theirs for a very long time.
Absolutely. And of course, you know, storyline after storyline, these are veterans of players. But if you too want to get involved, you can just navigate on over to ev.io, get into the game, get some hours in, and then hop into community gaming, start playing in some tournaments, whether it's Apex, whether it's Smash, whether it's EVIO, Hearthstone, and so much more. Community Gaming supports a wide variety of grassroots tournaments. They also offer tools and guidance for organizers to help supercharge your events. So head on over to communitygaming.io. You can learn more today.
Yes, sir. Seems like 5 minutes was all Atlantic needed to be able to recuperate, come back. And now, but still, 1-kill game, though, close enough, and probably as close as it gets into the margins that we had. Maybe this time, we run out the clock again, maybe this time, you know, we see a dominant start from either side, but we can only find out until we get into the game. When that happens, we'll let you know what's going to lobby set up. Of course, once again, getting players all wrestled up to, there's a lot of money on the line, as we said already throughout the day.
Absolutely.
Almost there.
Yeah. And keep shouting out, you know, production and whatnot, because Rose, Vermilion Rose, follow them on Twitter, or rather it's Rose Produces, and it's Vermilion Rose on Discord. But of course, it wouldn't be possible without them manning the camera, manning the entire production. So shout outs to them. And of course, if you were wondering what was about to happen, Rav, let them know what's going on, bro.
We're in. This is it. Once again, Atlantic, Chrism, hopping back into it. No kills taken off the rip here either. Slower pace, a lot of space created between both sides.
It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Chrism 2-1 over Xborg Atlantic. Chrism just need one more game to secure this grand finals victory. Xborg Atlantic looking to take us to a game 5, playing on their tournament life here. We are in the grand finals, $10,000 on the line. This game is slow and methodical.
Yes, sir. A far cry from what we witnessed previously. I think this is exactly what we'll continue to experience between these two. Nothing hyper-aggressive until they know it is a for sure.
Keeping an eye on the red team now. Of course, this fight is being drawn out, and as SCage finds a third, that's a fourth with the rocket launcher, but returned by the hand cannon. 4-4, Chrism keeping it tight.
I haven't seen a rocket launcher kill in a while, too. A lot of those were just used. We got some chip damage down, shots to controls, like small chokes in areas, but hey, good on them. And Chrism finally getting a 2-kill lead. We'll see if they can cement that even further. Crunk going farther and farther to getting more long-range angles. But within that time, Xborg Atlantic managed to get one. Crunk moves in, but it's a 2v1 though. Can he close this out? I don't think he can.
It's a tough situation to be in. And of course, when you've got that deagle in hand, you're hitting these shots, but it's hard to finish sometimes because you can't laser them down for the rest of their health like you would be able to with an MG. And so 8-8 now, 6 minutes left on the clock. Slow for sure, but each of these fights, a lot going into them as Nizen goes down to Lex here, and the shots continue around the backside.
And Nizen, though, got the sniper once again. Again, he was good for his one. So only a matter of seconds. So you know that he's trying to at least get as many as possible established and hold on to that for as long as possible. As I believe we might need a couple of seconds to be able to get the server back up and just take a little small tech pause, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we want to make sure that we're playing with the best of the best here. And of course, Chrism and Export Atlantic, they deserve it with the games going just, nail to nail, toe to toe. And it's just crazy to me. Of course, that game started out a lot slower and a lot more methodical, which is what we were expecting, right? Chrism, we know they thrive when they can execute their strategy. Atlantic, though, does a good job of disrupting that quite a lot. So still a tight game. It was like 11-10, I believe, in favor of Atlantic. Could go either way, Rev.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so we'll see how to get back into the lobby once again, how we can reset it and just ensure that we're getting y'all back to the action as quick as we can. When we get the lobby like resets, right? Getting scores reset once again to just ensuring fairness, because like we don't want to hop back to 0-0 because it's not like it's a brand new game. It's basically pretty much like a best of 6 at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And so talking about the state of the game at this point, man, right? Like there are so many ways to play this. And of course, you're seeing that these teams incorporate a couple of different ways to play this game. Some with flicks, some with tracking, and you're going to see that with the hand cannon and such. But let's get back into the game because we've got the action ready to roll.
Yes, sir. Now we're looking as all these players just complete champs looking to pop back in once again. Right, just power through however and wherever they can as well. As Chrism too, right, they're now up 3 kills for themselves. We'd like to get things figured out, but still up by 2.
By 2. Let's see if they can keep the pressure up. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Chrism 21-19. They've got a bit of a lead here. Taking the shots through the smoke, though, might as well. You've got infinite bullets and just try to do some damage. You know what I mean? So now heading in with the impulse up to the high ground. Beautifully done. Mid-air shots from Crunk. He's able to connect.
And even now, Lexi as well, too, is trying to find one more, puts down the nade, gets the trade, but it's been Crunk as well, who pops in, uses smoke, plays his life, and all that cover given over alongside M2 Arcade. They take a couple of seconds to just recover, and the rest of Export Atlantic tries to move against them.
See if they can keep it out of Lex. Winning that duel in the close range. S-Gage coming out on top of M2RK. And overall, Chrism still only leading by 2. It's not a decisive lead at any point. And we're just about halfway through this match.
Yes, sir. Exactly like you mentioned. So it's 25 kills remain between Chrism and also Export Atlantic, essentially being able to either give us the full game 5 or take us home at this point. And I think Export Atlantic want to give us a game 5 here, Jim. It tied things up, but one taken away at top of the trades, and it's been almost a 3-for-1 by the end of all this. Chrism cannot find any advantageous fight. Just that kerfuffle happened.
Yep, the kerfuffle was intense indeed. Chrism come up out of that with 3. They were tied for a long time, but yeah, just came out on top recently. 4 now separating these two squads. And overall, we're watching Nizen here. Deeg in hand, heading on over to the sniper. We know he's good for 2. Can he be good for 2 this time around, as he actually takes a couple of shots from Big Boy and needs to get on out of there.
There's a nice shot up top as well. Lexi's the one finding that kill with the nade. Now it's just down by 1 again for Export Atlantic, closing the gaps so quickly. But last time this happened, it was Chrism, right, who found 2 kills there and continued for a full squad wipe. And I think we're seeing the exact results of that, but it's still Atlantic keeping it pretty even, to only down by 1.
only down by 1 and make that 3 at this point as Chrism M2RK mid-air with that tracking. It is on point, finding shots from across the map. He is a laser beam. You don't want to be standing in front of it.
3 up. As you continue forward in the grand finals, Chrism can see they're 10 kills away, taking all that prize money home. Being first place, M2RK finds one of his own, and then make that 2 as he cleans up 2 of the kills, set up by the rest of his team. 8 kills remain.
8 kills remaining, trying to keep up the pressure here through the TP. Mines have been deployed for the side of Export Atlantic, and just like that, though, the gap has been made into 5 points as Chrism keep on ticking with 5 points remaining. Chrism looking to lock down this round 3 victory, this round 4 victory rather, and take home this BO5. However, Export Atlantic, if they have anything to say about it, this is their time. Chrism 2 at 46, Export Atlantic at 42, and with 15 seconds left on the clock, it's now or never, Rav.
This is it. They have to lose. They have to get a full squad wide without losing anybody at all. That's the only way they managed to do it here, Jim. But 2 ways, Chrism, a little bit less closer, but 1 second, and they get it.
Beautifully done. Chrism 2 taking it 3-1 in this best of 5 grand finals, meaning that they're your grand final victors of the EVIO Dread Gauntlet presented to you by Community Gaming. Rav, what a weekend of competition. But just like that, Chrism 2, your victors, man. M2RK getting knocked out of this upper bracket earlier in the day, working their way through the lower and having to fight all the way to the end in the grands. What a story.
Exactly, my friend. They managed to pull things back. We love a good story like that. But Export Atlantic too, phenomenal showings, being absolute champions, dealing with all the tech stuff too, and almost making it so close. Of course, big shout out to all our sponsors. Of course, thank you to Community Gaming for helping host this too. But of course, the question system, don't forget about that. Y'all can earn like tons of crypto, USDC, and other rewards for just using the platform. And remember, next week, we have a 1v1 tournament sponsored by Coinbase too. So at Coinbase wallet, you can go exclamation mark Coinbase, SMSCG, and more to find out everything. But big shout out to our TOs. And of course, Jim, appreciate you being by my side as well. And congrats to our winners once again. Chrism for taking home that 10K. Remember, play EV.io today on anything with a browser. With all that being said, I've been Ravish, most ravish man on the internet. Y'all have a good night. Peace.